Hey guys, welcome to Shinobi Fiction, home of the most epic Naruto what-if stories. If you want exclusive stories, early access and bonus content, join us on Patreon. Now let's jump straight into today's adventure.
But he knew deep down the village would never accept him as leader, ever since that night in the forest, when he overheard the traitor Mizuki refer to him as the Kyuubi. It made sense now, all those beatings as a child. The cold lonely nights, the mobs chasing him everywhere he went. All because the Yondaime had chosen him to be its prison. The Yondaime Hokage, the greatest ninja the village had ever produced, and his own personnel hero had stopped the beast and sealed it into him. He became a ninja to strive towards greatness, to be just like the Yondaime. But something had to change. He gouged another mark into the tree bark, marking his position from the latest attempt. Then suddenly his control slipped as his body fell towards the ground below, landing with a thud, his body too tired to carry on. Darkness soon enveloped him. After what seemed like hours, a pair of bright blue eyes snapped open, but saw nothing. He was enveloped in complete darkness. "Where the hell am I?" whispered Naruto. "We have waited many centuries for a warrior worthy enough, a warrior to be granted our power." "You are that warrior, Uzumaki," Naruto said, a deep ominous voice in the dark. Naruto looked around frantically looking for the source of the voice. "Who said that? Show yourself." Three very distinct and different roars then pierced the darkness. The form stepped out of the darkness and into view. The brightly colored and very large serpentine dragon. The brilliant white tiger, the glorious red and orange phoenix, the scared beasts of legend stood in front of the young ninja. Naruto's eyes widened at the sight. What could they possibly want from him? "What do you want with me?" he asked, a tremor in his voice. "Uzumaki Naruto, we stand here before you wishing bestow you with immense power," spoke the dragon, bowing its giant head. "I am Ryaka, High King of all dragons." "Naruto, you possess the heart of a dragon. Your life has been a long and lonely road, but it has made you stronger, tougher and powerful. We dragons admire that, so I bestow upon you the Lord Dragon summoning contract, this sword and finally the seal that once locked away you memories now released." As Ryuka spoke, Naruto caught a large summoning contract, its heavy weight nearly knocking him to the ground. A dazzling white katana sword had levitated in front of him. He felt as if something had unlocked inside his mind. As memories came flooding back, knowledge flowed through him like a great river. Naruto bowed his head. "Thank you, Ryuka Dono." The dragon responded, baring its massive teeth in a smile. "Makes us proud, Naruto, as your mother once did." Naruto smiled at the dragon's words. His new knowledge granting him access to memories once locked away deep inside his mind, including the identity of his mother. Uzumaki Kushina. Soon enough the phoenix spoke, unfurling its massive shimmering wings of flames, illuminating the darkness. "Uzumaki Naruto, my name's Shenro. Leader of the Phoenix clan and Sky Lord, we have watched you for years. Your heart pure, unaffected by the evil that exists in this world. You fight for justice, something this world sorely needs. So we bestow upon you the Phoenix summoning contract, the mighty blade Hisakikahe, flaming justice, and finally break the seal locking away your soul." Once again Naruto felt a seal break inside him, as she felt energy rise up through him from head to toe. It felt warm and familiar. "Thank you, Shenro Dono." The phoenix nodded, folding its wings back down. Naruto then saw the mighty white tiger step forward. "Uzumaki Naruto. My name is Haiku, leader of the White Tiger clan and Lord of Thunder. You possess great strength in your ability to hold back the tailed beast Kyuubi no Yakai, a beast created by the Rikido Sennin when he created the shinobi world. So as a gift to you I present the summoning contract of the White Tiger clan, the katana Shiroiku, White Lightning, and the seals holding back your bloodlines." Naruto then rose into the air, an orb of energy surrounding him that continued to grow in strength. The young ninja felt power flowing through him, his mind flooded with knowledge once locked away. Suddenly the energy died down as she gently lowered to the ground. Naruto took to a bended knee, as a large pair of large pure white feathered wings burst from his back and unfurled to their full length. The Uzumaki clan were the stuff of legends. Said to be been descended from Tenshi, angels, themselves giving rise to their long lifespan and power, spoke Haiku. Naruto looked left and right, admiring his new wings. "You mentions bloodlines, Haiku Dono?" asked Naruto, standing tall. "Allow me," Haiku interrupted Ryuka. The mighty tiger nodded, letting the dragon take the floor. "The Namikaze clan, your father's family were ninjutsu specialists said to be descended from an ancient and noble clan lost to the ages. You are now the last Namikaze. Naruto, your second bloodline is called the Gonjin, the Five Rings. It grants you control over all the elements of ninjutsu," explained the mighty dragon. Naruto was shocked beyond belief. Never in his wildest dreams had he thought he would be standing in front of three creatures of legend. His body humming with energy and power, his mind open and clear. His past unlocked and his future before him. "This is so awesome," he cheered, pumping a fist into the air. The legendary beasts laughing at the display. "Now go forth, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, bring peace and justice to this tainted world. You have our utmost confidence and faith." Naruto nodded, smiling at the beast's return to this realm, and Naruto faded into the darkness. Returning to reality, a new power about to be unleashed. The rise of the Inu Namikaze. Chapter 2. The moon hung high in the cloudless night sky. A soft breeze blew through the grassy area where the motionless body of young Uzumaki Naruto laid. The pair of bright blue eyes snapped open and adjusted to the darkness. His head was pounding. His entire body ached like nothing he had ever felt before. Suddenly the pain in his head increased to such a degree he passed out, plunging into the darkness of his mind once again. Drip, drip. It was dark. Naruto's eyes snapped open. He felt water lapping at his body from all sides. He turned his head, his eyes focusing on a large golden gate, secured with a paper bearing the kanji seal. He slowly got to his feet, standing atop the water facing the cage. A pair of menacing red eyes glowed in the darkness behind the golden bars. Soon a large ominous shape moved into the light. The dark being of destruction known as the Kyuubi no Kitsune, nine-tailed fox. So my fleshling prison has finally graced me with his presence, said the Kyuubi, baring its huge teeth. I am pleased you have finally had those blasted seals removed, and now allow us to meet face to face. Naruto smiled, his bright blue eyes meeting the fiery orbs of the giant fox. What do you know of these seals, Kyuubi? He asked. Hardly surprising you weren't aware of them, after I was sealed within you by your blasted father. The civilian council of the Konoha was worried about the power that you would obtain. Not only were you the son of Uzumaki Kushina, my previous container, but also Namikaze Minato, their yondaime. The seals were placed on you to lock away your memories of your parents and make you stupid, for the lack of a better word. Another seal was placed to contain your soul, thus severing your ties to the formidable bloodline you were born into and your connection to me. The final seal was lock away your bloodline limits themselves. The council thought it would contain you and allow them to do what they wanted. Little did they know that if you died, it would release me from my prison, explained Kyuubi. Naruto grit his teeth, his fingernails digging into the skin of his palms. Those damn counselors had done nothing but treat him like common garbage his whole life. But now it was time to show them what he was truly capable of. What do you want from me, Fox? Asked Naruto calmly. Why did you bring me here? The giant fox sat on its hind legs, its 9 tails swishing through the air behind it. I have brought you here for 2 reasons. Firstly, I wanted to say hi, now we can finally talk. Secondly, I will train you, but on one condition. Naruto eyed the fox carefully. Foxes were master of deception and trickery. What is this condition? Asked the young genin. I want you to kill a certain individual. Now you sound like that useless Uchiha. Naruto was interrupted by the legendary tailed beast slamming its head into the bars as it let loose an almighty roar, sending ripples out across the water. Do not compare me to those demons. Those evil eyes are what caused me to attack your village in first place, but that is a story for another time. Do you accept these terms? Naruto placed a finger on his chin. He would need training to control his newly unlocked abilities, and who better than a legendary tailed beast? I accept your terms, Kyuubi, said Naruto, folding his arms, smirking. The giant fox nodded before it became surrounded by red smoke. The colored mist swirled around its giant body, getting smaller by the second. Almost as quickly as it appeared, it was gone, leaving behind the visage of a young redhead dressed in a white kimono, ample cleavage on display, long red locks drifting behind her. Naruto was dumbstruck. Who knew the Kyuubi was a Zohid? Staring his rude Naruto-kun, spoke the now human-sized Kyuubi. Naruto quickly shook his head, clearing his mind of dirty thoughts. Kyuubi, the young woman nodded yes. I thought this would be a more suitable way to train you. We will train here in your subconscious. Anything you learn here you will be able to use in the real world. Will we have enough time? Asked Naruto. Kyuubi smiled, nodding her head. For every day that passes here, only a minute passes in the real world. But I think we need to change the scenery, she said, clicking her fingers. The sower soon changed into an open grassy field, filled with wooden targets and trees, a soft wind blowing through the area. Wow, this is your subconscious, Naruto. Everything here is in your control, so shall we begin? Said the fox woman, smiling. Naruto nodded with vigor. He would finally be able to show everyone finally what he was made of. The next morning the sun was rising over Nami no Kuni, blinking against a bright light assaulting his eyelids. Naruto groaned as he sat up, rubbing his face. The memories of his subconscious training sessions with Kyuubi increased the intense ache his body was feeling. The tailed fox woman was a damn slave driver. He's never worked that hard in his life. Suddenly his eyes focused on a figure stood just in front of him, a young girl with straight black hair dressed in light green kimono, carrying a basket filled with herbs and plants. Hello there. You know it's dangerous to sleep outside, right? She said. Naruto slowly got to his feet. I'm sorry, I must have fallen asleep, I was training, you see. The girl cocked her head to the side. Oh, I see, judging by your headband you must be a ninja of Konoha. That's right, Uzumaki Naruto is my name, said the genin proudly, trying not to give too much away. What's yours? He finished. I'm Haku. I was out this morning collecting some medical herbs for my father. And this is no civilian. She has the same chakra signature as the Kiri Hunter Nin from the fight with Zabuza, he thought. Haku, said Naruto, gaining the girl's attention. Your father wouldn't happen to carry a large sword and hail from Kurigakure no Sato, would he? Inquired Naruto. The shock registered on the young girl's face was confirmation enough. How at wo are you? she stuttered. Who I am exactly will be explained in due time, but I wish for you to relay a message to your father, he said, looking directly into the young girl's eyes. Once Gato has been dealt with, I wish to offer him a chance to stop running and live a better life. Can you give him that message? Aku nodded. Yes, I can deliver that message to him, but tell me why do you want to help us so badly? No one has ever cared that much before. Because everyone deserves a second chance, we must all have a reason to fight to protect the ones we love, said Naruto, smiling before turning walking away. You are an interesting one, Uzumaki Naruto, she thought before disappearing back into the forest, returning to the hideout. Do you think it was wise to let her leave just like that, Naruto? Asked Kyuubi in his mind. Yes, I sense goodness in her, replied Naruto through this mindscape. Everyone deserves a second chance, Kyuubi, plus her father would be an outstanding Kenjutsu sensei. Well, I can't fault on that point, you would be more dangerous with a spoon at the moment, mocked the great-tailed best from behind the seal on the boy's stomach. Thousands of years old, and that's the best comeback you've got, he replied with a deadpan voice. You just wait until I get to back down here, boy, your ass will be mine, thundered Kyuubi. Yeah, whatever you say, Kyuubi. By the time Naruto made his way back to the bridge builder's house, everyone was still asleep, so he smoothly and quietly climbed the stairs and entered his room. Climbing under the covers and quickly falling into the deep sleep, resting his tired and shattered body. Several hours later, Naruto was awakened by a scream and raised voices coming from outside. As he bolted out of bed, he rushed to the window, his eyes widening at what he saw. Tsunami and her son captured and at the mercy of two of Gato's thugs. The shirtless and scarred bandit samurai grabbed Tsunami around the throat, bring her closer to him. The young mother turned her head away from the foul stench of the man breath, while his partner kept a tight hold on Inari. Hey Zauri, she looks like she could be fun, the one-eyed man said, leering at Tsunami. What do you think? Baraji, just get it over with, said Zauri, we have a job to do. Fine, whatever, replied Warage, pulling his sword, readying it to kill his prisoner. Please not in front of my son, pleaded Tsunami. The samurai laughed with promptly stopped with a sizable rock rocketed through the air, striking the samurai holding Inari directly in the forehead, knocking him to the ground, writhing in pain. What the, shouted Waraji, who looked in the direction the rock came from to find Naruto, standing there tossing another rock up and down, catching it again in his throwing hand. You know it's not very nice to capture innocent people and threaten them, said Naruto, glaring hard at the one-eyed man. Who the hell are you, kid? Shouted Zauri, having recovered from the rock strike. You both won't live long enough to remember my name, growled the lead genin, a fire lighting in his blue eyes. Now release her and face me like men, or we'll run away like mice. Make your decision. The bandit samurai looked at each other before they both smirked. Waraji gripped his sword before tossing Tsunami to the ground as Inari ran over to his mother. The pair ran back inside the house, the young boy rushing to the window, staring his brother and savior. He thought back to the conversation the Leaf Genin had with him the previous night. Never forget the sacrifice made by others, but use to fuel your resolve to improve and continue their legacy. Never forget, Inari, your father loved you and would want you to never lose faith. I promise I will remove Gato and bring back the soul of Wave Country. Inari remembered staring at her father's face in its photo frame, Naruto's words striking home. The young boy knew what he had to do. He would continue what his father started. He continued to stare out of the window as his brother prepared to face the samurai. Well, prepare to die, kid, we'll make sure there are enough of you left to bury, said Zauri. Naruto smirked. Stupid bandits, he thought. Well, if you think you can, bandit, what are you waiting for, an invitation? Impudent little worm, prepare to die, screamed Zauri, charging forward, his partner joining him in the charge. Fools, thought Naruto as his maid made a rapid series of hand seals before plunging both hands into the earth at his feet, calling out Doten, Doranami no Jutsu, earth style, mud wave. The large mud wave rose up in front of Naruto and broke over the charging samurai, catching them in a torrent of swift-moving water and earth. The wave moved quickly, forcing their battered bodies hard against the trees at the perimeter of the properly, fixing them in place. You're going to have to do better than that, my friends, but I'm sorry, this must end. I have things to do, people to see, you understand, right, said Naruto, openly mocking them. Ah, you little brat, I'll kill you, screamed Waraji. Naruto narrowed his eyes. You first, he said, completing another series of hand seals, calling out Futon, Fukin no Jutsu, wind style, typhoon blades. A fierce wind blasted through the area, thousands of invisible wind blades cut dozens of trees into neat sections. Both Zauri and Waraji screamed as they were thrown deeper into the forest, their screams falling silent as pools of blood leaked into the soil. They were dead. Naruto fell to a knee, taking in lungfuls of air. His body was still getting used to its newly unlocked powers. Using his bloodline took a lot out of him, but his chakra replenished quickly thanks to his huge reserves. He silently thanked the giant fox for the chakra control exercises she had pushed him through, a great help allowing him to pull off those techniques. I wonder where Kakashi-sensei is, along with the Banshee and emo boy, thought Naruto, standing to his feet. He stared down at his ripped and shabby bright orange jumpsuit. He grimaced. He really need to get some new clothes, but would have to wait. First he needed to find the team. Naruto-kun, I sense your team are on the unfinished bridge engaging Zabuza and the girl you met in the forest, explained Kyuubi. Right, thanks Kyuubi, I should get there fast. Nai-san shouted, Inari running to him. Naruto crouched down, grasping the young boy by the shoulders, looking directly into his eyes. I'm very proud of you, Inari. You stood up for yourself and your mother, Naruto said, smiling. Now I need you to stay here and protect your mother for me. I need to go and save your grandfather, alright? Hi Naruto, I can do that. Good, I'll be back. Naruto then disappeared in a blur, moving swiftly through the trees, this a result of his subconscious speed training allowing this to happen. Naruto sped towards the bridge, hoping his would arrive in time. He needed to, lives depended on it. Chapter 3. Clang. The noise made as the metal of a kunai and the raw steel of giant great sword met locked in deadly combat, the kunai in the hand of the Konoha Jounin had a Kakashi, the copy ninja. A prodigy from a young age in the shinobi arts and prized student of the Yondaime Hokage, known as the copy ninja, thanks to his lone Sharingan eye, the treasured Dijutsu of the Uchiha clan. It was a gift from his fallen comrade Uchiha Obito, a gift the Kakashi had made a promise to repay. It was the last thing he did. His opponent, feared throughout Kurigakure as one of the 7 swordsmen. The demon Mamachi Zabuza. His mighty head-cleaving sword struggling against the kunai held by the copy ninja. Why don't you just give Haddock, just hand me the old man and this will be over, taunted Zabuza. I'll even make it quick. I think I'll pass, replied the lazy-eyed Jounin. The ninja then jumped away in opposite directions, putting some distance between them. Zabuza looked to his left to his apprentice Haku activator ice mirrors. Inside the dome alone Genin. Uchiha Sasuke. Ahaha, I hope you're ready to lose one of your students, copy ninja shouted the swordsman. No one escapes the ice mirrors. Kakashi said nothing as he looked over his shoulder. He could see Sasuke was in real trouble, but he couldn't leave Zabuza unattended. If he did, it would endanger his other student Haruno Sakura, who was guarding the bridge builder. If you think that, then you clearly don't know an Uchiha when you see one. Zabuza heaved his sword onto his shoulder. Whatever. Let's finish this before I start to get bored, he said. Kakashi nodded as he reached up to his headband and revealed his scarred and lone Sharingan eye. Let's finish this, he said. Be careful, Sasuke, he thought. The 2 Jounin ninja then jumped towards the other, doing battle once again. Meanwhile, trapped in a dome of ice mirrors, the ghostly image of the masked hunter nin moving from panel to panel, Uchiha Sasuke was breathing hard, his entire body hurt, and he had yet to lay a single hit on his opponent. Why don't you just give up, said Haku hidden behind her mask. Your reasons for fighting do nothing but hinder your chances of beating me. Sasuke looked confused, and Uchiha's reasons for fighting are our own. I don't need anything more than that, he said. Then you are doomed to fail, replied Haku, who made a single hand sign as senbon needles composed of water and ice descended from the room, the dome. Sasuke dodged as best he could in the limited space the dome provided him, but many of the needles struck home. The pain in his body increased tenfold as the famed last Uchiha dropped the ground. Utterly defeated. Hoenn Uchiha will not be defeated by this. Waklingi must kill Itachi. It is my Gomi vengeance, thought Sasuke, power building up behind his eyes as they turned from jet black orbs of the night to blood red, a single kami in each. He had unlocked the Dijutsu of the Uchiha. The Sharingan. Haku moved out the mirror senbon needle in hand. The hunter ninja ready to strike the final blow. Believe me when I say I take no pleasure in ending your life, but it is Zabuza-sama's will, and it must be done, said Haku. No, I will not let it end this way, not will Itachi. Still breaths, thought the Uchiha as the senbon needle descended ready to kill. Sasuke reacted quickly, his prone body phasing out, a Bunshin clone, as he reappeared behind Haku, his fingers rapidly making hand seals before he called out. Paiten, Gakakyu no Jutsu, fire style, great fireball technique. The large fireball erupted from the mouth of the genin, enveloping the dome in flames. Sasuke soon ending his technique, the masked hunter nin nowhere to be seen. Once again you failed to realize you lack the strength of will to defeat me, said a voice from behind the leaf genin. Sasuke turned to see the hunter ninja unharmed, protected by the mirrors, his eyes widened, his body trembled, he don't even notice the senbon needles descend once more. Until a scream pierced air over the mist-covered bridge. At the bridge entrance, Haruno Sakura, the only kunoichi on the team, stood kunai in hand protecting the bridge builder. Her worry was increasing by the second, the mist covering the bridge, blocking her vision of her sensei and her precious Sasuke-kun. She prided herself on being the Uchiha's #1 fangirl. The scream filled the air, it pierced her very soul, it sounded like Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, she screamed. Meanwhile on the bridge Zabuza's laugh filled the mist surrounding Kakashi. It seems you were wrong, Kakashi, about your precious student, Kakashi taunted the Kiri missing nin. Sasuke Kakashi thought sadly he had failed to protect his students. Before he could wallow in self-doubt and failure, a voice called out loudly through the mist. Suiton, Suryuiton no Jutsu, water style, water dragon technique. Suddenly the mist cleared as a large water dragon rose up over the edge of the bridge and dived towards the swordsman, who jumped away avoiding the attack. But the said Kakashi. The shadowy blur then appeared on the bridge and raced towards the ice mirror dome, rapidly making seals as the mist cleared, quickly disappearing. His target revealed. The shadow called out. Oten, Iwajin Katsu no Jutsu, Earth Style, Fist of Rock. The large earth-made fist gathered around the new arrival's closed hand, its heavy weight striking the mirror. The shock wave easily shattering the mirror into hundreds of pieces, the shadow then quickly grabbed Sasuke and disappeared from the dome. Haku, surprised by the new arrival, failed to notice the burning explosive note that had been left on the furthest mirror. That was until it exploded, sending a tower of flame into the air and breaking the remaining mirrors. Haku was sent flying through the air, landing hard on the concrete surface of the bridge. "What is this, Kakashi?" demanded Zabuza. The copy ninja focused his single eye as the new arrival came into view, his back to them, the bright orange jumpsuit a dead giveaway to the person's identity. Even if the bright blonde hair wasn't enough. "Naruto." Uzumaki Naruto turned, looking over his left shoulder. "Hey sensei, how's it going?" asked the blonde jovially. "Would you mind explaining where you've been the last 2 days?" "In due time, Kakashi sensei, but we have a mission to finish," said Naruto before he looked down, having been alerted by a groaning noise at his feet. "I didn't need you to save me, dope," said Sasuke weakly. Naruto glared hard at the fallen emo boy. "Shut your face, Uchiha, before I decide to leave your sorry ass to die next time." Sasuke just groaned in response. "Damn dope," he thought. Zabuza laughed at the little exchange. "You have very weird students, Kakashi, but that blonde boy is an interesting one to destroy one of Haku's mirrors, like his did is an accomplishment," noted the swordsman. "Yes, an interesting one indeed," thought Kakashi. He wondered what had brought about this change in the orange-wearing ninja. He sensed something was very different about the boy. Something he couldn't quite figure out. Zabuza readied his sword. "Shall we finish this, Kakashi?" "Yes, I think we should," replied the Jounin as he reached into his flak jacket, pulling a scroll from its holder before taking a swipe of blood from a wound Zabuza had inflicted earlier. He swiped his blood-covered thumb down the center of the scroll and then slammed it into the ground, calling out, "Doten, Kuchius. Suga no Jutsu, Earth Style, Summoning Technique. Tracking Fang Technique." Zabuza soon found himself trapped. A pack of ninja dogs held him in place, jaws and teeth sinking into his flesh, the Kirinin wincing in pain at the feeling of sharp teeth penetrating his skin. He was trapped. "You want this to end," said Kakashi, standing to his full height. "My nin dogs now have your scent. You're trapped in their iron bite. Now it's time to show you my one true original technique," he finished as he crouched slightly, his right hand down, his left gripping its opposite at the wrist. Lightning energy gathered around the famed Konoha ninja in a ring. "Bakiri, Lightning Blade." Kakashi then unleashed a burst of speed, hurtling towards the deadly Kiri missing nin. Kakashi leaped up, rearing back his lightning-covered hand and thrusting it forward. His Sharingan eye caught sight of Haku, who had suddenly appeared in front of her master, protecting him. "I will not allow you to kill Zabuza-sama," cried Haku. However, it was too late to stop the attack as the copy ninja's lightning-encased hand plunged into its target, but not the one he was expecting. A earth and rock barrier had surrounded the Kiri ninjas, protecting them from the lightning-based attack. Kakashi pulled his head out as the earthen barrier fell. "Naruto, what are you doing?" "Kakashi-sensei, please don't kill them," pleaded Naruto, the source of the barrier that had protected the pair. "I believe they deserve a second chance." Kakashi eyed his student carefully. He was wondering if the young boy had completely lost his mind, but it dawned on him they could be of some use to Konoha. "Alright, Naruto." The pair of Kiri ninjas were observing the exchange with interest as Kakashi released Zabuza from his nin dog trap before stuffing his hands into his pockets. The group of ninja were interrupted by the sound of clapping behind them, coming from the uncompleted end of the bridge. It was Gato, the crime lord who had invaded Wave along with his army of thugs. "The would have through the great demon of Kiri would be beaten by Leaf Ninja and kids at that," sneered Gato. "It seems my faith was misplaced in you, Zabuza. What do you want, Gato?" The small man tapped his cane onto the concrete as his army of thugs stood behind him, looked itching for a fight. "I want that old man dead," shouted Gato, "but now I get the chance to kill you as well. Besides, these Iwa ninjas I found accepted a much lower offer for their service." Out of the crowd of samurai stepped forward 2 Iwa ninjas, each a scratch through their headbands. Missing Nins, the male of the pair, was a hulking man mountain of a ninja, his bulging muscle barely contained by the material of his clothing, the woman beautiful and slender with bright green hair. Kill them all," screamed Gato as his men rushed towards the ninja. Naruto then walked up, standing side by side with Zabuza. "Zabuza-san, I'll make you a deal. If I kill more thugs than you, both you and Haku will return to Konoha with us." The Kiri ninja mulled this offer quickly. It would be nice to finally stop running, he thought before looking at Naruto directly in the eye. "What if I win?" he asked. "Then you can go on your merry way." Zabuza hefted his sword to his shoulder as Haku stood ready to attack. "You got yourself a deal, kid. Let's cut loose," said the swordsman. Naruto nodded happily. "Alright." Kakashi just stood shocked. What happened to the slightly idiotic hyperactive knucklehead ninja that was Naruto before they left? He would definitely need to report this to the Hokage. "Na-sensei, are you okay?" asked Naruto. Shaking his head, clearing his mind. Yes Naruto, thank you, let's finish this mission. Naruto observed his sensei and Zabuza phase out in a blur, as did Haku. Naruto closed his eyes, focusing his chakra, quickly completing a series of hand seals before he called out his attack as the thugs drew closer, poised to end his life. Chapter 4. Naruto narrowed his eyes, he focused his chakra as he saw the band of thugs rush towards him. As a single bead of sweat ran down his cheek, he knew what he had to do for the people of Wave, for justice to be served. Completing his final hand seal, he screamed out over the noise of the onrushing samurai Raiden, Kakihi no Jutsu, lightning style, final light. Naruto thrust his hands forward as large ball of lightning energy gathering between his clawed fingers, as a large white beam of energy swept past the onrushing samurai. Men and bodies were sent flying into the air, crashing into the water below. Naruto took a fight stance, smirking at his enemy. Naruto is off the ninjutsu for a bit, it's training your newly opened bloodline limit, echoed Kyuubi in his mind. Right, replied Naruto through his mind. Naruto ducked as katana blade sailed over his head. Naruto jumped into the air and rocked the lone samurai attacker with a solid roundhouse kick. His body was sent flying back, skidding along the surface of the bridge, talking his cohorts with him. You are all scum, screamed Naruto following that swine Gato. Now you will all face justice by my hand. He finished throwing his hand to the side, calling out Shiroiku, white lightning. His gift from the White Tiger clan appearing in his hand, gleaming in the sunlight. You think you can take us all, brat? You and that toothpick, taunted one of the samurai, causing the others to laugh. Naruto glared hard at the thugs. You will all do well to remember your place. Come on, let's just kill this kid. Yeah, let's get him. The band of thugs facing with Naruto rushed in again, unknowingly charging towards their own deaths. In an instant Naruto pushed the blade free from its scabbard with his thumb, his chakra building before he screamed out. Itoryu Ii. Kari Tora, one sword style, draw and resheath technique. Hunting tiger. As Naruto unsheathed his sword, a large crescent-shaped energy blade rushed towards the onrushing samurai. A large explosion billowed into the air, leaving behind the bodies of a few dozen samurai, all dead at his feet. Ami-sama, Kakashi, where did you find this kid? Asked Zabuza, very impressed with the kid's kenjutsu skill. I have no idea, he responded. Naruto, what happened to you? Thought the copy ninja. From his prone position, Uchiha Sasuke had the perfect viewpoint. He was witnessing the dead last of his academy class lay waste to dozens of samurai, almost like they were nothing, his teeth gnashed in anger. How does he have this power? He deserve it more. I need to kill him, raged the young Uchiha. That idiot, he'll never be better than Sasuke-kun, thought the pinket. As Naruto sheathed his blade, a shadow phased into view behind him. It was one of the larger missing Iwa ninja. A giant fist raised into the air, ready to crush the young leaf ninja under its weight. The fist impacted the bridge surface, kicking up a cloud of dust. Naruto shouted, Kakashi, seeing his student take the hit. You're going to have to try better than that, Rocky-chan said a voice as Naruto appeared unharmed some distance from the Iwa nin, who was growling in anger at the nickname. Seijin, do not let that little brat rattle your cage, shouted the female Iwa nin. Naruto smirked, clearly have achieved his goal of angering his rather large opponent. He placed his sword on his back as a white cloth appearing diagonally across his chest, securing it place. Well, want to try again? Seijin screamed in rage. The hulking Iwa nin was always slow in thought and quick to anger. A very useless combination in a shinobi. You're dead now, brat, screamed Seijin. Naruto smirked, however that soon dropped from his face when Seijin slammed his giant fists into the ground. The Iwa Chunin screamed out, Doten, Uritsu no Yorai, Earth style, royal armor, earth and giant slabs of concrete, then gathered around Seijin until he stood 10 feet tall with giant fists and the body of a rock golem. Be ready to die, brat, screamed Seijin. Naruto simply curled his fingers. Seijin screamed in rage and dashed forward, the ground shaking under his heavy pounding steps. Naruto rolled forward and phased out and reappeared standing at the edge of the bridge, the misty and choppy waters of Nami below. Oh, Rocky-chan, Naruto shouted. Seijin growled under his breath. He turned his hulking rock-covered body and charged towards Naruto. That's it, come on a little more, whispered Naruto. As the hulking Iwa nin drew closer, Naruto thrust his fist forward before calling out Ninpu. Ichikasui, ninja art. Chain spike. A long length of gray metal chain links extended out from Naruto's arm at the tip, a deadly needle-sharp spike. The metal chain easily penetrated the rock-covered Seijin's body before wrapping around the leg. Naruto once again focused his chakra and made a single seal. Once again he called out of the battle noise. Raiden, Kasurai no Jutsu, lightning style, chain lightning. The large electrical current raced down the chain. It soon enveloped the rock-clad Iwa nin, who screamed in pain. However, soon his entire body dissolved into a pile of mud. Naruto looked left to right before jumping into the air, avoid a reappearing Seijin's attack. Tsuchi Bunshin, thought Naruto. Naruto, you need to end this. Soon strain your bloodlines are placing on your body will soon be beyond my healing factor. Your body just isn't used to its new abilities, said Kyuubi. Understood. Naruto once again extended his hand to the side calling back Shiroiku. He then disappeared in a blur of speed, dashing towards the Iwa ninja, who turned just in time to see Naruto slash with his blade and reappear into view crouched behind him. Naruto stood to his full height and sheathed his blade. With a final click, Seijun's chest exploded into a plume of blood as slash mark extending from hip to shoulder at Toryu. "Haraseki, one sword style Hell's Gate," whispered Naruto. "Naruto, look out," screamed Kyuubi. Naruto looked over his shoulder to find the second Iwa ninja leaping towards him, attacking from his blind spot. But the Leaf Genin reacted quicker, moving in a blur speed, missing the heavy rock-encased punch. The Kunoichi landed at the spot Naruto once stood, her eyes darting from left to right searching for her prey. But it soon found her. Naruto was his position high above descended to the ground, his fist in front cutting a path through the air. He disappeared in a blur of speed and reappeared just above the completely oblivious Kunoichi. He called out Kasoku. "Shindu Jayasha, high gear, impact driver." The resulting impact was devastating as the female ninja had no time to react before her entire body was sent rocketing to the ground, so hard she blasted a hole directly in the concrete surface and falling into the waters below. Naruto stood staring down through the hole, ensuring his enemy was defeated. He turned and walked towards his sensei and Zabuza. The bodies of dozens of samurai littered at their feet. He didn't say anything as he passed and stood over the cowering form of Geto. "Please don't kill me," whimpered the crime lord. "Give me one reason why I shouldn't," growled Naruto. The almost crying criminal tried to crawl away, only for Naruto to place a foot on his back holding him in place. "You will pay for the crimes you have committed against the people of Wave," Geto growled Naruto as he hauled the tiny man to his feet and threw him into the air. He sailed over the edge of the bridge, only to be caught and secured by a chakra chain courtesy of Naruto, which left him swinging above the water. Naruto smirked at his handiwork before turning around. He was met with the shocked faces of Kakashi, Zabuza and Haku. "What? Nothing, but you know I'm going to have to tell the Hokage about this, right?" Kakashi stated nervously, somewhat shocked at the blonde's display once moments ago. Naruto just smiled and nodded. "I know, Kakashi-sensei," he said before turning to the form Kiri swordsman and his young apprentice. "I think I won the bet, Zabuza-san." The masked missing nin nodded, folding his arms. "I believe you did, Gaki. Looks like we're going to Konoha." Then suddenly, out of the mist that shrouded the very end of the bridge, a loud cheer rose up as dozens of rogue samurai appeared. "Hey! That Gaki killed our meal ticket, let's get him," one of them shouted before they all rushed forward. Suddenly they all stopped when 3 arrows landed at the feet of the lead group. The ninja turned to see the citizens of Wave had gathered, all carrying makeshift weapons. Leading them, the bridge builder's grandson Inari. "We've come to help, Nai-san," shouted the boy. Naruto smiled before he turned to look at the Rouge, who were charging once again. He looked left at Kakashi, who nodded, then right to Zabuza, who did the same. The blonde then make the distinctive hand seal of crossed fingers, calling out, "Page Bunshin no Jutsu." In clouds of smoke, dozens of Naruto clones appeared on the bridge, followed by dozens of copies of the Kakashi. Zabuza followed suit with his water clones. The 3 ninja and their clones then jumped into the melee. The bodies of samurai were sent flying everywhere as the battle raged on for only a minute or two. The hapless attackers no match for a rampaging blonde genin and 2 seasoned jounin. That afternoon, with the battle over and the bodies of the dead samurai pushed into the sea, Geto was hauled up from his hanging position under the bridge. He was swiftly knocked out and placed into a ceiling scroll by Kakashi. Team 7 stood at the bridge exit, no completed by Tazuna's workers, and the exit gate painted red, proudly displaying the bridge's new name. "I think it's a great name," Jiji said. "Inari." "Indeed, too-chan, a fine name for our savior," said Tsunami. The name the bridge was given, the Great Naruto Bridge. As the people of Wave watched their savior's departure, Inari ran ahead and shouted, his small voice carrying through the air to reach Naruto. "Thank you, Nai-san, don't be a stranger." Naruto smiled, turning to wave goodbye. "Take care, guys," he shouted. The journey to Konoha wasn't long, but it certainly gave them all something to think about. "I need to train more. These powers are a gift to protect everyone," thought Naruto. "Indeed, Naruto-kun, I shall help in your fight," replied Kyuubi. The obsidian eyes of an Avenger Uchiha were boring holes into the back of the blonde. The power he had displayed on the bridge shouldn't belong to him, they belonged to an Uchiha, and soon they would. "Soon your power will be mine, dope," he thought. The pink-haired howler monkey just had stars in her eyes, gazing at her beloved. "Oh, Sasu-kun is so cool," she thought. "So misguided. I look forward to this Gaki's progress. He sure is an interesting one," thought the form Kiri swordsman. "Well done, Naruto-kun. You discovered your reason to battle," thought Haku. "May you never lose that goal." Kakashi had other things on his mind. The display Naruto put on at the bridge battle was something the Hokage needed to be told. Maybe the Kyuubi had finally taken over the blonde's body. No. He detected no signs of evil. It was all Naruto. "Naruto, what happened you two?" you thought the copy ninja. The Konoha ninja soon jumped into the trees, making their way back the village, plus 2 passengers unaware that a legacy had been born in the tiny island nation. A legacy that would echo through the ages. The legacy of the Blade Edge. Chapter 5. Kakashi, you can't be serious. The aged voice of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage of the Konohagakure no Sado, echoed through his office. He had just received a detailed report on the wave mission. The clearly enhanced skills displayed by one blonde-haired shinobi were the topic of discussion. The aloof Jounin nodded. I cannot be more serious, Hokage-sama. Something has happened to Naruto, he said. The Sandaime sighed before standing up and walking towards the large window. Its view over the village in the daytime sunlight was breathtaking. The old ninja's mind raced with the details of his adopted grandson. Excellent work, Kakashi. Please keep an eye on Naruto and report back to me your findings, ordered the Sandaime. Hi, Hokage-sama. But the Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. He left an aged Hokage with his thoughts of one wild knuckle-headed ninja. In another part of the village, an empty training ground. In the foliage of a large tree, a certain blonde sat cross-legged on a large branch, his eyes closed and fingers and knuckles pressed together in deep meditation. In his mindscape, Naruto was breathing hard. His lungs burned, his muscles ached. The extreme effort of training his body in this form provided physical results in the real world. Good. Most excellent, Naruto-kun said, the Kyuubi, the almost blood-red kimono she wore flowing in the breeze that drifted across the grassy plain, created in Naruto's mind. Thank you, sensei, replied Naruto. Naruto-kun, by conditioning your body it will improve the use of your bloodlines, explained Kyuubi, stepping in front of the young genin. The strain you placed on your body and Nami cannot be repeated. I healed you this time, but I fear there would not be a second chance. Naruto nodded as he took a combat stance once again. Kyuubi nodded. Alright, begin. Once you've finished you are to make as many cage bunshin as you can. We must prepare you for the Chunin exams. Naruto didn't reply as he moved through his stances and moves with silent and efficient steps. Once completed, he moved over to a nearby tree. He jumped, his hands gripping the tree bark, his body hanging below. He then lifted his body up with arm strength alone, his biceps clenching with each lift up. Then with a feat of acrobatics, Naruto spun his body until his was sitting on the tree branch. He then leaned back and went about suspended abdominal crunches. The visible play of his muscles clearly evident under his skin. Naruto then dropped down, landing gently. Suddenly his head snapped to the side, his real-world self sensing something in the distance. His ocean blue eyes snapped open as he rolled backwards, his arms pushing into the ground, sending him into the air, landing on his feet. His right hand at his hip, a kunai spinning through his fingers as he took a stance, weapon at the ready. But he saw nothing. Naruto-kun, be ready, I sense evil in this area, said Kyuubi in his mind. Right, replied Naruto. Naruto's eyes focused when suddenly 3 kunai raced towards, bursting out of the tree line. The young leaf ninja reacted quickly, batting the kunai away. He then launched his own, the sharpened point embedding in the bark of a tree at the edge of the small forest in the training ground. The area then erupted in a large explosion. The paper explosive note Naruto had attached, blasting trees from the ground. A human-shaped shadow then darted into the clearing, standing 6 feet in height in the attire of a ninja. The headband tied around his forehead surprised Naruto. The Megakure no Sado, the village hidden in the rain. Aim, what would you want with us, said Kyuubi. Naruto didn't reply, but kept his attention solely focused on the new arrival, who stood with an air of arrogance about him. You should know better than to attack a ninja of the village you are currently standing in, said Naruto. Either that, or you clearly have a death wish. The aim ninja just smirked. You've got a big mouth for someone so short. State your purpose here before I make you eat those words, spat Naruto. The aim ninja simply smirked again, folding his arms. I'm here for the annual Chunin exams, but I sensed something powerful and decided to test out my abilities, said the aim ninja. Little did I know it was just some brat. Naruto clenched his fist, his nails digging into the palm of his hand. Tell me your name, he whispered. Bigatsu, if you wish to fight me so badly, then come and test yourself, said Naruto, an edge to his voice as hard and as cold as steel. Bigatsu reached behind him, gripping the handle of his umbrella, the signature weapon of an aim ninja. He threw the umbrella into the air. The simply object opened as hundreds of thin black needles rained from the sky, heading towards Naruto, who deftly backflipped, avoiding the deadly projectiles. Naruto landed back on the ground. The momentum causing him to slid across the dirt, his feet digging in, he dashed towards Bigatsu. The aim ninja, seeing the attack, clearly jumped away, only for the image of Naruto to disappear. An after image, he thought. Bigatsu jumped into the air, his eyes scanning frantically for any sign of the blonde-haired ninja. He soon felt it before he saw it. The aim ninja then felt a strong kick to his left shoulder, sending his body spinning, his head pointed at the ground. He then felt arms and legs wrap around his body. The 2 tangled bodies then fell towards the ground. Naruto called out, Ichiryu. Kaku Kajeki, first dragon. Airstrike. Bigatsu had impacted the ground with tremendous force. A shock wave radiated out in all directions. Naruto rolled away from the body he had just forced into the earth and stood ready. The power he had felt rolling off of this mere genin meant an attack like the one he had just used wouldn't spell the end of this opponent. He knew one simply truth: Yugetsu was no genin. The aim ninja wrenched his body out of the dirt, his dark eyes bored holes into the Konoha genin, who simply stood, his face displaying an image of indifference. It's going to take more than that, said Yagatsu. Naruto smirked. I thought so. Yagatsu clenched his fist before his body dissolved into a puddle of water. Naruto jumped back, putting some distance between himself and his enemy. Blue eyes scanned the area, his body humming with energy. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt an immense heat coming from behind him. Yagatsu smirked, having unleashed a large fireball streaking towards the young blonde ninja. His eyes widened as large explosion filled the grassy area of the training field. It seems you failed my test, young genin, said Yagatsu. The aim ninja soon had his mouth firmly shut. As a heavy fist impacted his jaw, his body was sent rocketing into the tree line. The sheer force breaking trees in half as his body crashed into the dirt. Naruto soon appeared above the clearly broken body of his enemy. It seems you failed your own test, Baka, said Naruto. Yagatsu tried to speak, blood clogged his throat, only a gargle escaped his lips before his eyes closed. Naruto closed his own eyes and disappeared in a flash, but his sudden departure meant he missed the body of the aim ninja break into a puddle of water. The unharmed body of Yagatsu then stepped out from behind a tree smirking. The master must be informed of this, said Yagatsu before disappearing in a flash. Naruto appeared in a flash, stood atop the railing on the roof of the Hokage Tower. His bright blue eyes staring out over the village. It's a beautiful sight, isn't it, said an aged voice from behind. Naruto smiled, looking over his shoulder. The Sandaime Hokage Sarutobi stood, his pipe hanging from his mouth, his robes fluttering in the breeze. Gigi, I was wondering when you would come to speak with me, said Naruto, looking out over the village again. Sarutobi walked towards the railing, standing next to his adopted grandson. It seems we are both seeking answers, Naruto. Did you know of the seals that were placed on me, asked the blonde. Sarutobi sighed. He knew this day would come, but he hoped it wouldn't be this soon. But the world was often unpredictable, no more so than Uzumaki, Naruto. It was the night the Kyuubi attack started. The Sandaime, as you know, your father the Yondaime, sealed the Kyuubi into your body, but before any of us could reach you, waylaid by the chaos of the battle. You were found crying on the ground some distance from your father's body. You appeared fine and we suspected nothing but. Naruto looked down at the aged Hokage, but what, Gigi? On the ground nearby was a dead ninja belonging to Ruten group, supremely loyal to Danzo. Naruto fist clenched in anger. Danzo, a scheming war hawk, he thought. Naruto-kun, you must be careful around Danzo, said Kyuubi in his mind. He may be as old as the Hokage, but he is something not to be messed with. We must bide our time. You're right, Kyuubi. In time I will send Danzo to the Shinigami myself, he replied back. He was broken from his revere as the Hokage spoke up. Naruto, I am so very sorry. I was unable to protect you. You have failed your father's dying wish. Naruto smiled and jumped off the rail and walked away, but not before he placed a hand on his surrogate grandfather's shoulder. Worry not, Hokage-sama, I know you did all you could, Naruto said, smiling. My faith in you or this village has not faltered. Besides, you will need something to take that hat from you eventually, said Naruto, smiling a foxy grin. Sarutobi released a breath he didn't even know he was holding, but he couldn't have been more proud than he was at this very moment. Minato, Kushina, I wish you could be here to witness the birth of the true Naruto, thought the aged ninja. Somewhere else in the village, Naruto was walking down a street. He sensed movement behind him and saw a rock following him. Konohamaru mentally sighed. Naruto. The blonde disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Almost as soon as he did, the rock flipped over, revealing the Sandaime's grandson Konohamaru and his friends Yuden and Mogi. Where did he go? Shouted Konohamaru. Suddenly it was as if time slowed as Naruto appeared directly in the center of the three friends and held a kunai poised ready. Naruto leaned down and whispered in the young boy's ear. Ooh. Konohamaru jumped straight out of skin, screaming in fear, his friends doing the same. Naruto chuckled at the sight as he placed his kunai away. That wasn't funny, Oyabun, boss, shouted Konohamaru. Well, it's your own fault. Rocks don't follow people, kid. Konohamaru pouted, folding his arms. I told you, Konohamaru, it wouldn't work. The boss is just too good, said Yuden. Naruto just laughed at the three as they started to argue until a loud screech pierced the air. Almost the sound a howler monkey would make. Naruto. Naruto turned to see Sakura stomping towards him. Yes, Sakura. The pink-haired genin looked steamed. Kakashi-sensei called a meeting. He sent me to find you. You're an hour late, Baka, she screamed. Hey Oyabun, is she your girlfriend? Asked Konohamaru. Naruto sighed and bonked the kid on the head, knocking him to the ground. Get real, Konohamaru. Konohamaru swiftly righted himself. Yeah, I sure you could do much better than a pink-haired howler monkey, Konohamaru said, smiling. Naruto almost failed to contain his laughter as he noticed a fire erupted in both of Sakura's eyes, the flames stoked higher and higher by the second. Time to go. Hey kid, we better run, Naruto said as he took off running in the other direction. Boss, Konohamaru wondered before he caught the angry look into Sakura's eyes. Boss, would up, don't leave is with that thing. The three kids then took off running, following Naruto. Get back here, you little brat, screeched Sakura. Konohamaru ran as hard as he could before he ran into the something hard, knocking him to the ground. Ouch. Konohamaru was then lifted into the air, a hand grabbing his shirt and scarf. Hey you little brat, that hurt, said a young genin from Sunagakure no Sado, his face covered in purple painted lines and a black jumpsuit and a bandaged object hanging on his back. Kankuro, leave the kid alone before he finds out. Don't worry Tamari, this will be over before you know it, he said. He suddenly stopped when he felt the cold steel of a kunai at his neck. Kankuro turned to meet the ice blue eyes of Naruto. How did he get behind me, thought Kankuro. Drop the kid or I drop you head from your shoulders, hissed Naruto. Fukuku, now why should I listen to you, brat, taunted Kankuro. Naruto tightened grip, pressed the point of his blade into the skin of Kankuro's neck. Because your life will not be the only I will end if you do not comply, said Naruto as Kankuro turned his head to find an exact copy of Naruto, holding a kunai to Tamari's neck. Seeing no way out of this situation, he dropped Konohamaru. The young boy landed promptly on his backside. You okay, Konohamaru? Asked Naruto, not once releasing his captives. I'm good, Oyabun. Now we're all going to relax and act as ninja should, but first call out that red head hiding in the tree, said Naruto as the two Chunin ninjas' eyes widened. Then a whirl of sand said red head appeared on the ground as Naruto released his captives and stood with the youngsters as Sakura finally arrived. What's your name, asked the redhead. Naruto smirked, seeing as you're the visitors, you first. Tsubaku no Gaara, Uzumaki Naruto. The two stood staring into each other's eyes, sizing each other up. A full minute passed before Gaara turned and walked away. Kankuro, you are an embarrassment to our village, said Gaara. But Gaara, shut up or I will kill you. Kankuro promptly shut his mouth. Sakura then thought it was a bright idea to open her own mouth and ask a question. But wait, we are soon a ninja here in the village. It was Tamari who answered, we are here for the annual Chunin exams. But the three Suna genin departed. Naruto stood there watching their retreating forms. Tsubaku no Gaara, I will look forward to your meeting and the exams, he thought. The five some then left themselves, Naruto and Sakura heading towards their sensei's meeting, the Konohamaru Corporation off to find more mischief. An interesting exams indeed. Chapter 6. Uchiha Sasuke, the last of the famed and great Uchiha clan. One of the founding clans of Konoha dating back to the time of the Shodaime, until one fateful night that Sasuke's older brother Itachi slaughtered the entire clan, leaving only Sasuke alive. It had turned the young ninja into a bloodthirsty avenger, his one mission to kill Itachi and avenge his clan. But at his current power level he knows that would not be possible, he needs more power, that he is sure. Now he knows exactly where to get. His dark eyes were currently staring into the back of one Uzumaki Naruto. He had witnessed the supposedly dead last defeat samurai and Iwa ninjas and Nami, which a power unknown to everyone else. Where did he get this power? How can I make it mine? The question burning in Sasuke's mind, all he knew was he needed power to kill Itachi and Naruto could provide that power. Said blonde was unaware of the Dark Avenger's musings, he was having a brief conversation with Kyuubi in his mind. Well Naruto-kun, it is time for the Chunin exam, said Kyuubi, it's time to show the world just what you can do. Right Kyuubi, replied Naruto. Fam7 were making their way to the Ninja Academy. A meeting with Kakashi where he explained the team had been nominated for the annual Chunin exams. The tournament was used as a showcase to display a village's power and prominence and allow genins the chance of promotion. They entered the academy and up the staircases, their destination room 301. The hallways were filled with other Chunin exams hopefuls. Naruto's ocean blue eyes noticed a group trying to gain access to room 301, but finding it blocked by two gray-clad Chunin. Come on, you got to let us in for the exam, said a genin. No chance kid, you will only fail. Sasuke, sensing a chance to get one over his blonde competition, stepped forward, an arrogant smirk gracing his face. Why don't you drop the Jinjutsu, we are heading up to the real room 301, said the Avenger. Naruto simply shook his head and slapped a palm to his forehead. Foolish little Uchiha, said Naruto, causing Sasuke to grit his teeth, the blonde voice sounding like Itachi's. It was a test to weed out the weakest entrants. You've just made our job harder, Baka. Shut your mouth, dope, hissed Sasuke. Yeah, shut your mouth, Baka. Sasuke-kun is twice the ninja you will ever be, screeched Sakura. Naruto smirked, clearly enjoying getting under his supposed teammates' skins. It was then another voice interrupted their altercation. You three rookies have to make so much noise. Naruto looked over to see three new arrivals, the white pupilless eyes of Hyuga Neji. A branch house member of the most noble clan of Konoha. Since the clan's formation it had been separated in two very distinct groups. The main house and the branch house each serve a purpose. The branch was to protect the main family members. Should a branch house member be captured or killed, a seal known as the caged bird seal would seal the prized jutsu of the clan, the Byakugan, away forever. His companions were a bun-head girl carrying a large scroll and a kid dressed in green spandex. Naruto did not recognize these two, but was very freaked out by the size of the green spandex boy's eyebrows. Ama-sama, I think one of these caterpillars just moved, said Kyuubi. Naruto's calm facade did not falter, but inside he was disgusted. The green spandex-clad boy then rushed over to Sakura and grabbed her hand, looking directly into her eyes. Sakura-chan, my beautiful cherry blossom. Please say you will do the honor of going out with me. Sakura was beyond freaked out. This strange boy tightly holding her hand. You no way, my heart belongs to Sasuke-kun, screeched Sakura, yanking her hand from his grasp. Spandex hung his head in dismay, before tightening his fists, then striking a pose. It was as a sunset appeared behind him as he shouted at the top of his lungs. Then I, Rock Lee, emblazoned by the powers of youth, will fight for your heart against Uchiha Sasuke, he screamed. The surrounding genin were shocked at his display of utter weirdness. Naruto stood impassively, his right eye twitching slightly at the spandex-clad genin. Sasuke smirked and stepped forward. If you want to fight, you've got it, said the Uchiha. Naruto shook his head and stepped forward, grabbing the Avenger by the back of his shirt and dragged him away. The Uchiha, unprepared for the grab, kicked and thrashed, trying to break Naruto's iron grip. What the hell are you doing, dope? Let me go. Yarely Sasuke baka, screeched the howler monkey. The blonde fixed his supposed teammates with icy glares. We do not have time for this, we have yet to reach our destination, so let's go, said Naruto, dragging Sasuke as Sakura followed, still screaming. Neji stepped forward. So this is the hope for Konoha ninja, weaklings looking to defy fate. Naruto stopped and looked back over his right shoulder, a single icy blue meeting empty whites. You do well to remember your place, Hyuga. Protection is your only job, not to run your mouth about matters beyond your understanding, said Naruto, an empty and cold tone to his voice. The young Hyuga shook with an absolute rage. How dare this common trash insult me? He will now pay the price, thought Neji, as his body assumed the first stance of the feared Jukin Taijutsu of the Hyuga clan. The room turned black on the ground, a green line map surrounded by kanji symbols, and a yin-yang appeared. You are within my field of divination, he said. To witness your own death, whispered Naruto, who had disappeared and reappeared, a kunai point digging into the skin of the young Hyuga's neck. Neji was shocked he had moved so fast. How? As I said, you do well to remember your place, Hyuga. In this world only the strongest souls with a will to protect others survive. Naruto released the genin and turned, spinning his kunai between his fingers as he once again grabbed Sasuke and marched up the stairs. Neji was relaxed his stance and was joined by his shocked and astonished teammates who had never seen such a display. Who the hell was that? Neji asked the bun-haired girl Tenten Higurashi. I do not know, but he will not defy his fate as it has already been written, said Neji, unimpressed by the blonde's words. Team 9 then marched up the stairs, all three members left with much to think about. Expect Lee, who simply shouted youth at the top of his lungs as he always did. Team 7 reached the top floor and saw Kakashi waiting for them, the lazy Jounin smirking under his mask. Good, you're all here. I thought for sure you would be caught in the false room, he said, looking at each of them. Have a little faith, sensei, said Naruto, smirking. Kakashi shrugged. Well, anyway, the first test is through this door. Good luck, he said simply before puffing away in a cloud of white smoke. Naruto smirked before he picked up the still kicking and thrashing, before suddenly throwing him through the closed door, which thundered open as the Avenger landed in a heap on the ground. The noise had alerted all of the other genin entrants who were glaring at the new arrived genins. Man, so this is the Chunin exams, huh, said a new voice. Naruto turned and saw a new team had arrived, composed of Inuzuka Kiba and his canine partner Akamaru, the meek and shy heiress of the Hyuga clan Hinata, and finally the quiet loner that was Aburame Shino. Hey dog breath, said Naruto, ribbing Kiba. The canine growl escaped the Inuzuka air. What was that, dope? He screamed. Naruto just stood there smirking at Kiba's display of bravado. Go eat your chew toy, Kiba, said Naruto, folding his arms. Before Kiba had a chance to say anything else, another voice interrupted them. Man, you are all so troublesome, some of us were trying to sleep. Naruto renogized them as Team 10, consisting of the brilliant but supremely lazy Nara Shikamaru, the big-boned Akamichi Choji and Yamanaki Ino. The latter let loose a scream as she jumped toward Sasuke and hung around his neck. Oh Sasuke-kun, did you miss me, said Ino. Sakura grit her teeth. Back off, Ino pig, she screamed. Ino narrowed her eyes. What was that forehead? Ino screamed back. Naruto shook his head as he sensed another presence appear in front of the genin, much older than them, with gray hair ties loose in a ponytail and thin glasses covering his eyes. Man, you genin are so noisy, you should remember to keep the noise down if you want to get through this test, said the new arrival. Naruto regarded the man with an intense gaze, his sense to power level far exceeding that of a normal genin. In fact, it resembled the level he sensed from Kakashi. This was wrong, there was no way he was a genin. Naruto-kun, you are correct, this is no normal ninja. I am getting a heavy scent of snakes coming from him as well, said Kyuubi. What's your name? Asked Naruto. The man looked directly at Naruto. My name is Yakushi Kabuto. This is my 7th time participated in the exams, and through my endeavors, had gained access to a wealth of information on ninja. 7 times? No, takes this exam 7 times, and doesn't pass, thought Naruto. Sasuke then stepped forward. What kind of information? Kabuto pulled what looked like a deck of cards from his pocket. All I need is a name, and I can tell you all you need to know, he said. Uzumaki, Naruto and Sabaku no Gaara listed off the avenging Uchiha. You know their names, that makes this easy, Kabuto said, searching his deck before pulling the correct card. Sabaku no Gaara, genin from Sunagakure no Sato. part of a team made of the Yondaime Kazukija's children, completed 3 C rank missions, 2 B rank, 3 A rank, and amazingly successfully completed an S rank. Hushed whispers filled the room as the aforementioned ninja stood his arms folded against the wall at the far end of the room, leaving no response to the questions raised. The Budo then pulled a second card in regards to Naruto, however the card suddenly burst into flames with a single finger snap from Naruto. "I apologizes Kabuto-san, but the mysteries of life are what make it interesting," said Naruto, much to the annoyance of the Uchiha and the card deck holder. Then suddenly clouds of smoke filled the room as the examiners appeared. At the head of the room stood clad in black leather, his face heavily scarred as his gravely voice echoed through the room filled with Chunin hopefuls from all the ninja villages. "Alright brats, take you seat," said the scarred man. "My name is Marino Ibiki Takubetsu Jounin of Konoha, and head of the first test of the Chunin exams, being handed out to is a test of 9 questions. You have 30 minutes to complete the test. But be warned, anyone caught cheating will suffer the consequences. The test starts now," announced Ibiki. Naruto from his seat alongside Sasuke and Sakura regarded the test. The questions were something even a seasoned Jounin would have trouble answering, let alone rookie genin. He quicker established the point was to cheat without anyone noticing. As he looked around the room, noticed others had also established the reason for this test. "Naruto-kun, allow me to help," said Kyuubi through his mindscape. Naruto quickly burned through the questions with his tenant's help. He looked to his left at his teammate Sasuke was using his newly unlocked Sharingan to copy the answers of another participant. Meanwhile Sakura, being the bookworm, know the answers anyway. Soon enough the 30-minute time limit expired as Ibiki spoke up once again. "Alright, now for the final part of the written exam. The 10th and final question, but I must warn you once again, this is the hardest part. Now you all have a choice. You can either leave now with a simple raised hand, because if you answer this question and get it wrong your entire team fails. Now make your choice." "But you haven't even given us the question yet," said a Kusa ninja from the back. "Make your choice, you have 10 seconds. A wave of apprehension flooded the room as raised hands shot up and teams being escorted out of the room. The rookie 11 looked just as scared as the rest of the Chunin hopefuls. That was until an almost calming aura flooded the room, washing away the apprehension and fear. Ibiki felt the calming aura and tried to focus on its source, but couldn't. He sighed before looking at the remaining ninja. "Well, the 10th question is that you all have passed the first part of the exam. Congratulations," announced Ibiki. From his seat Naruto smirked, his arms folded. He had been the source of the aura that had flooded the room only a moment ago. He knew that some softer members of his team would cave under the pressure. He released the aura blast when he noticed Sakura's hand rise up into the air. Through his actions he had saved his team chances in the exam, and now they would advance to the next round, which was now as one of the glass windows exploded and a sign fell from the ceiling. The new arrival was a purple-haired scantily clad ninja. "As the sign," said second examiner Mitarashi Anko, Takubetsu Jounin of the village. "You must be getting soft, Ibiki, there are a lot left here." The scarred examiner shrugged. "Good bunch this year." "Whatever, alright brats, follow me to the second exam," shouted Anko before diving out of the broken window. Once the genin had departed, Ibiki collected all of the tests. When he reached Naruto's he found all of the answers to be correct, and at the bottom of the page a small note. "Ibiki-sensei, I feel we have an intruder in our midst. Yakushi Kabuto is no normal genin. I leave this with you to check out." Ibiki chuckled having read the note. What an interesting kid he though, before he disappeared in a puff of smoke to report this to the Hokage. Meanwhile the assembled Chunin hopefuls had stopped in front of a fenced and gated area. A dark and menacing forest lay beyond. "Boys and girls, I would like to welcome you all to Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death. This marks the location for the second test, and for some of you it may become your final resting place," said Anko, and menacing tone lacing her words. Once again fear and apprehension filled the genin as they surveyed the dark forest. What horrors lay within they were about to find out. Naruto cast his blue eyes to the dark expanse of forest he saw before him, his body humming with anticipation about what was to come. His mind was so entranced he almost missed the explanation Anko was about to give to the Chunin hopefuls. "Alright brats, listen up, each team will be given either an earth scroll or a heaven scroll. Your task is to gain the corresponding scroll, then make your way to the tower at the center of the forest. You have exactly 5 days to reach the tower. Once the sun sets on the 5th day any teams remaining in the forest fail," shouted the Jounin. Each team received their scroll as Naruto placed into in his pouch secured to his belt. He remained silent awaiting the order to enter the forest. However, he couldn't shake an unpleasant feeling that washed over him. He turned to his left and narrowed his eyes at the sight of a tall pale-skinned Kusa ninja. "What is this feeling?" he thought. "Naruto-kun, are you okay?" asked Kyuubi. "That Kusa ninja, Kyuubi, I can't shake the feeling something is very wrong about them," said Naruto, through his mental connection with the great beast locked inside him. Snakes, I smell the scent of snakes, Naruto-kun said Kyuubi. He's had a chakra level beyond that of any normal genin. But what does that mean, Kyuubi asked Naruto. I feel we will find out soon enough, Naruto-kun. Anko stood at the front of the gathered group of ninja, her gaze focused on a young blonde whose attention was clearly elsewhere and not on the task at hand. Anko smirked, an idea popping into her devious mind as she reached for a kunai and hurled it towards the blonde. Naruto sensed the incoming projectile and moved his head to the side. The kunai landed into the grass behind him. He felt Anko appear behind him, her arm slung around his shoulder as she whispered in his ear. You need to focus, brat, or you might die before you even get in the forest, said the jounin as she suggestively licked the shell of his ear. Anko suddenly felt the cold steel of a kunai at her neck as a cage bunshin appeared. As ninjas we must always remain focused, Anko-sensei, said Naruto smirking. You've got balls, kid, to pull a weapon on me, said Anko. Only trying to impress you, sensei. A foxy smile appeared on Naruto's face. Whatever, brat. The long tongue then suddenly appeared holding Anko's fallen kunai. It was the mysterious Kusa ninja. Here's your kunai, he said. Anko, thinking nothing was amiss, let go of Naruto and took the kunai from the ninja. She then walked towards the entrance to the forest. Alright, you brats, the second test begins, no, shouted Anko. The genin teams then rushed into the forest, each looking to complete their task of obtaining the opposite scroll. Team 7 found themselves in a dark corner. The noises of the forest were ominous and foreboding. The forest, used as a training ground for ranks of Chunin and higher, was filled with dangers. Plants, animals, even the environment itself had evolved with simple task of killing. A dangerous place indeed. The team continued to walk, each member alert and tense in case of threat. It was at that moment that Sakura stopped dead in her tracks. Naruto and Sasuke followed suit, turning towards the pink-haired ninja, who was looking left to right, and confused look on her face. Sakura, what's the problem, asked Sasuke. Haven't we been though here before? The boys looked at their surroundings. They did indeed recognize they had been through this area before. They had passed the same tree at least 3 times now. She's right, Dobe, said Sasuke, hoping to get a rise out of his teammate, but got no response from the blonde. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he flared his chakra. He threw his hands together, index fingers extended up before he called out Kai. The world around the team shimmered, revealing they had been trapped inside a Jinjutsu. It's Jinjutsu designed to slow our progress, said Naruto as 3 aim genin, each wearing a breathing mask and plain colored overalls. It seems we didn't design our trap well in it. Now hand over the scroll, brats, before we leave you here to die, said the lead aim ninja. If you want it some badly, you're going to have to take it from us, said Naruto smirking. The lead aim nin shrugged. Your funeral, brat. Then suddenly long black earth-urn chains burst from the ground underneath the aim nins, wrapping around the arms, legs, chest and necks, and began to drag them down. The lead looked around, trying to catch sight of their attacker. He got his answer when a voice called out in the distance. Oden, Kasui no Yomi, Earth style, chains of the underworld. Overconfidence appeared to be your downfall, my friend, said Naruto, walking towards the ninjas caught in his trap. The trio tried to struggle against their bonds, the chain securing them barely moved. Naruto crouched down and reached into the leader's pouch and relieved them of their scroll. Unfortunately, it was a heaven scroll like the one they already had. Naruto then threw the scroll into the distance and walked back to his teammates. Hey, you bastard, you can't leave us like this, shouted the lead. Naruto didn't stop, but simply clicked his fingers as the chains tightened. The chains then began to drag the aim genin underground until only their heads remained above the dirt. So long, guys, shouted Naruto, waving his hand before Team 7 disappeared into the trees. As the team took to the tree tops, a certain Uchiha couldn't help but grit his teeth at the display once his blonde-haired teammate had put on. He witnessed Naruto place a hand on the ground and call his technique, hoping to copy it with his Sharingan, but with no hand seals there was nothing to copy. This angered the Uchiha Avenger. Their power will be mine, Dope, you can count on that. Suddenly an explosion was heard coming from the direction that had just departed from. Smoke could be seen rising into the sky above the trees. What was that? Asked Sakura. It appears they tried to escape my trap, replied Naruto. Both Sasuke and Sakura stared wide-eyed at their teammate as they moved deeper into the forest hunting for an earth scroll. Meanwhile, in the council chambers of the Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen Sandaime Hokage was fighting another battle. A battle that he had fought for years, a battle against the civilian council and the elders of the village over one single subject. Uzumaki Naruto. Sarutobi, how could you let that thing be nominated for the Chunin exams? We cannot simply allow him to advance in the ninja ranks, screeched a voice that by its high pitch could make ears bleed. The Sandaime, having been sat here for the best part of an hour, was tired of listening to their rambling. The mighty leader flared his chakra and slammed a fist down onto the wooden surface of the table. Splinters and cracks raced out in all directions, clearly displaying the leader's anger. What happens to the ninjas of this village should be of no concern to the civilian council. I have had enough of your clear disdain for the boy. He is a loyal ninja and savior of this very village, and you place dishonor upon the yondaime who chose the boy, roared Sarutobi. At the end of the table a man cleared his throat, the one-eyed warhawk Shimura Danzo, who since Genin times had been in conflict with the Sandaime and his ideals. We are simply voicing our concerns for the village, Sarutobi. The boy is a liability, and if you had listened to me in the first place. Sarutobi slammed another fist into the table. Enough, Danzo. I told you then and I will tell you now, Naruto will never be placed in your care to be turned into a weapon. Danzo stared impassively at his rival. Old fool Sarutobi, he thought. Sarutobi then stood from the table. This council is dismissed. The village leader then left and retreated back to the relative safe haven of his office. He was surprised to find someone already there, sitting on the open windowsill, dressed in red robes with a large scroll tied to his back. His shock white hair extended down his back and tied around his head a horned headband bearing the kanji symbol for oil. He was Jiraiya of the Densetsu no Sannin, legendary 3 ninja. Jiraiya, what the hell are you doing here? Asked the Sandaime. Hey sensei, I thought I'd drop in and say hi, said Jiraiya jovially. Sarutobi smirked. It's good you are here, there is something I need to discuss with you, he said. For the next hour Sarutobi told Jiraiya the story of Naruto. The Sannin sat shocked that the son of his prized student was still alive. The yondaime had named him godfather to boy, but on the night of the Kyuubi attack he was told the boy had died along with his father and mother. Overcome with grief at the loss, Jiraiya left the village to manage an extensive spy network his had built up, but with Naruto's new abilities and powers, the Sandaime felt it was time to inform the boy's godfather. Where's the kid now? Asked the Sannin. He is currently taking part in the second test of the Chunin exams. Jiraiya nodded. I will introduce myself once the second test is complete, he said. I believe that is an excellent idea, Jiraiya. The legendary ninja then stood up. Well sensei, until then I'm off to catch up on my research, he said, laughing as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sarutobi sighed, knowing exactly what research his student was referring to. The village leader then reached into the top drawer of his desk. A small book was held in the drawer, a masterful piece of literature called Icha Paradise. The office was soon filled with small perverted giggles. Back inside the forest, Team 7 were once again moving quickly through the trees. Naruto stopped suddenly. He sensed a large chakra signature bearing down on them. Boy dope, why did you stop? Asked Sasuke. Naruto looked in every direction trying to locate the chakra signature. His head snapped back towards his team. Get down, he shouted. Suddenly an intense wind infused with chakra blasted through the area. The leaf genin were almost thrown off the tree branch they had landed on. Naruto, having fallen from the tree, looked over his shoulder as saw a large tree branch rushing up. He flipped in the air and grabbed the branch with his hands. His body spun around the branch. The force sent him flying into the air back up. The unknown attacker suddenly revealed himself to be the unknown Kusa ninja, the same one that had given Naruto the ominous feeling before they entered the forest. Naruto flew towards the unknown ninja and reared his fist back, calling out, Dasoku. Terahiju, high gear, tiger strike. A shockwave of chakra energy erupted from Naruto's fist. As the Kusa ninja disappeared, the resulting explosion blew apart the tree limb. Splinters of wood and dust drifted through the air as Naruto landed on another branch. My Naruto-kun, so fisty, said the Kusa nin. Tell me who you are? Asked Naruto. The Kusa ninja smirked before he reached up to his face and started to pull off what seemed to be his skin. With half the mask removed, it revealed pale, almost ashen skin underneath and a single yellow snake-like eye. I have come for Sasuke. Come at me, Uchiha Sasuke. Prove to me you are worthy of the name Uchiha, shouted the ninja. Sasuke, unable to back down from an insult against his family name. Fine, you want an Uchiha, you've got one, he announced, preparing to move towards the unknown ninja. Sasuke, no. Stop. Shouted Naruto. The Kusa nin smirked as he placed a finger towards his snake-like eye as an overwhelming sense of death filled forest. Chakra engulfed the area as both Sakura and Sasuke witnessed their own deaths in their mind's eye. The genins were left frozen in fear, unable to move as the Kusa nin appeared on the branch and walked towards them. I expected much more from the younger brother Uchiha Itachi, said the Kusa ninja. Naruto then blazed in, calling out Suiton, Suryuiden no Jutsu, water style, water dragon technique. A large water dragon then appeared from the surrounding moisture Naruto's Gonjin bloodline, allowing this measure of manipulation. The dragon bore down on the Kusa nin, driving him from the branch and landing safely on another close by. Impressive, Naruto-kun, show me what else you can do. Naruto crouched on another branch staring down his opponent. You will regret those words, team, snarled Naruto as he begun to channel his chakra along with the Kusa nin. Yes, show me Kyuubi Jinchuriki, show me your power, thought the ninja. Naruto steeled himself as she prepared to move against his opponent, but once again he could help feel an ominous sense of death that surrounded the ninja. Naruto-kun, be careful and use your head or he will most certainly kill you, said Kyuubi through his mindscape. Great pep talk, Kyuubi, replied Naruto through his mind. The two ninja faced off ready to do battle, one genin against an unknown opponent with unknown abilities. What could go wrong? Naruto stood tall from the horse stance that he had been in just moments ago to channel his chakra. He reached down to his thigh, quickly pulling a kunai and hurling it towards the unknown ninja. The Kusanin smirked and caught the blade inches from his face. "You're going to have to do better than that," he said. From his position on the tree branch, Naruto smirked himself and whispered boom. The kunai gripped in the ninja's hand, then exploded, sending tree bark and dust into the air. Naruto threw his hand to the side as his sword Shiroiku, white lightning, appeared in a flash of light, then suddenly through the smoke burst forth a large green snake which rushed towards Naruto. The leaf genin jumped high into the air, avoiding the large beast's vicious gaping mouth and fangs. Naruto flipped and then dived towards the ground, his blade at the ready. The snake, having found his prey, opened its gaping mouth ready to swallow whole. The blonde white energy gathered around the blade as Naruto slashed, screaming out, "Bitoryu! Sandakunin, one sword style. Thunder cannon." The large beam of energy erupted from blade and enveloped the snake. The energy died down as Naruto continued to fall towards the ground. Suddenly the burned and charred snake once again burst through the smoke and closed its giant maw around Naruto. "Whoa, whoa," shouted Naruto. The snake extended its forked tongue, happy with its meal, as the Kusa ninja appeared once again, his clothes torn and charred, the remainder of his skin-like mask removed, revealing yet more ashen gray skin and long black hair, dressed in robes tied and secured with a large purple robe. "Impudent little brat," snarled the unknown ninja. He then looked at his snake summon, who looked like it was about to throw up. A spray of blood jetted into the air as a sword blade burst through its skin from the inside. The snake's head then fell to the ground as a blood and ooze-covered Naruto landed on a branch, once again facing his opponent. "Ugh, disgusting," whined Naruto, trying to shake off the chunk. "Why, you little brat, you're going to regret that. You will not leave this forest alive," screamed the ninja. "Whatever. How about you face me instead of hiding behind your pets," replied Naruto. "Do you have any idea who you're messing with? Why don't you tell me?" The ninja smirked. "My name is Orochimaru. I was once a member of the legendary Sannin, and now your executioner," said Orochimaru as Naruto started laughing almost uncontrollably, angering the Sannin. "What's so funny, brat?" Naruto stopped laughing abruptly to think that one of the legendary Sannin needed to reveal himself to a mere genin. "Silence, you fool." Naruto smirked as he sheathed his blade to his back, a white strap securing it around his chest. This was his plan. He knew at his current power level, he wouldn't stand a chance against some of Orochimaru's power. But if he would throw him off his game and then withdraw, they may just escape with their lives. He cast his vision over to his teammates who were passed out on the ground. Whatever technique the Sannin had used had knocked them clean out. "Naruto-kun, I cannot tell you how careful you must be around Orochimaru. You will need every single one of your new skills." "So him what you can do," said Kyuubi. "Oh, I plan to Kyuubi," replied Naruto. Naruto smirked as he flashed out and appeared directly in front of Orochimaru. A solid punch struck the Sannin in the chest, sending him flying through the wooden truck of the tree to his back. Naruto followed through the hole in chase of the Sannin. Orochimaru looked down his sailing body. "He hits like Tsunade. That was strength, not chakra," thought Orochimaru as she opened his mouth and let loose a barrage of snakes. Naruto rolled, avoiding the vicious creatures before he placed his hands in a seal and took a deep breath. "Peyton, Jusei no Jutsu, fire style, gunshot." Naruto fired numerous fireballs that immediately incinerated the snakes coming towards him. Naruto then changed his seal, his chakra charging up through his body as the trees sailing by his vision before he called out, "Peyton, Hashikasai no Jutsu, fire style, starfire." A stream of intense white-hot flame erupted from Naruto's mouth. It rushed towards Orochimaru, who rolled to the side as the fire stream struck a tree which became enveloped in flames. The snake Sannin landed on another branch and scanned the area, his yellow eyes looking for the troublesome blonde. He had clearly underestimated the boy, and he was using jutsu he had never seen or ever even heard of. Could it be the Kyuubi's doing, he thought. Orochimaru stood tall. He couldn't sense the boy close by. The Sannin had come to test the abilities of the Uchiha, but this boy had clearly piqued his interest. Something of a mystery, and he could not stand for mysteries to remain that way. He flashed out, hoping to catch up with his quarry. Naruto was moving quickly through the trees under each arm his knocked-out teammates. After launching his second jutsu, he had immediately retreated from the area. He could clearly sense a large power source in pursuit of him. His eyes widened as a long snake-like tongue whipped towards him. The blonde threw his teammates towards the ground as his hand snapped up and gripped the fleshy appendage. "Didn't your mother teach you it's rude to put your tongue out?" shouted Naruto as Orochimaru mumbled something, unable to speak properly as Naruto had hold of his tongue. The blonde then took a good grip on the tongue and pulled Orochimaru towards him. The Sannin was sent flying towards the blonde. The snake-like man smirked as a sword appeared from his throat, its blade aimed at the boy's heart. Naruto noticed the blade and reached for his own. Steel clashed, sparks flying from the blades as Naruto deflected the blade and aimed a kick towards the Sannin's chest. Orochimaru palmed the kick away and slashed with his blade. The steel passed through Naruto's body, who puffed away in a cloud of white smoke. "Page Bunshin," whispered Orochimaru. Naruto appeared some distance away, his hands placed in a seal. Chakra energy hummed around his body as he called out his technique. Suiton, Sashouhe no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Collision Destruction. Orochimaru was shocked. A tower of water surrounded Naruto and grew higher and higher into the air. The mass of water thundered through the forest and rushed towards the snake Sannin. Impossible, how did he create that much water out of nothing? Naruto smirked as he controlled the mass of water which soon enveloped Orochimaru, washing him away into the forest. The Sannin jumped clear of landed on a tree branch above the deluge. He looked up when he heard Naruto call out again. Suiton, Suryurenda no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Dragon Barrage. Dozens of water dragon burst forth from the mass of water and rushed towards the Sannin. Orochimaru jumped into the air, twisting and swerving as the dragons attacked relentlessly. The Sannin flashed out and appeared from distance from the troublesome Genin. He had landed on dry land, happy for a brief respite. As the battle continued, a certain Uchiha was coming around his unconscious state. Charcoal gray eyes noticed the battle going on. He had not forgotten the insult against his family and now wanted some of the unknown opponent. He stood up and placed his hands in a seal. As Orochimaru appeared in front of him, the young Uchiha took a deep breath before he called out. Peyton, Kakakyu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Great Fireball Technique. A large fireball escaped the Uchiha's mouth and streaked towards Orochimaru, who flashed away, avoiding the fireball as it sailed away harmlessly into the forest. Orochimaru reappeared and faced Uchiha Sasuke. So the little Uchiha has decided to face me. It's a shame, really. I expected so much better from the younger brother Uchiha Itachi, said Orochimaru. He was goading the boy, looking for an opportunity to strike and claim his prize, the all-seeing Dijutsu of the clan, the Sharingan. Watch your mouth, fool. You underestimate the power of the Uchiha, snarled the Uchiha. Naruto cancelled his technique and saw the Uchiha rush towards Orochimaru. Damn it, that idiot's going to get us all killed, thought Naruto. Orochimaru smirked as his neck then extended to extreme lengths. His snake-like fangs sunk deep into the Uchiha's shoulder. The young Genin screamed as venom coursed through his system as a seal appeared on his neck. Sasuke slumped to the ground as Orochimaru's neck retreated, an evil smirk gracing his face. Naruto rushed in, his blade passing through Orochimaru's body only for him to dissolve into mud. Tsuchi Bunshin. Orochimaru appeared on another tree branch, staring down at the blonde. You have done much to impress me, Naruto-kun, but I have what I came for, and soon enough Sasuke-kun will come to me seeking power, and I will give him exactly that. I will end you before that happens, slime, snarled Naruto. Until next time, Naruto-kun, said the Sannin before disappearing into the trunk of the tree at his back, leaving the Genins alone in the forest. Naruto sighed as he sheathed his blade at his back and turned to see the fallen Uchiha once again unconscious and Sakura coming around. Naruto kneeled next to the idiot and rolled him on his back. He was knocked out cold. Sasuke-kun, screeched Sakura, rushing over. Naruto stood tall and surveyed the area. They needed to get away from this location. Naruto knew his battle with the Sannin would have definitely drawn attention, and they still had a mission to complete. Sakura, we need to move, come on, said Naruto, hauling Sasuke up onto his shoulder and moving deeper into the forest. Naruto, what the hell happened back there? Less talking, more movement, Sakura. Team 7 moved deeper into the forest. Naruto couldn't stop the thoughts that raced through his mind. What was Orochimaru's interest in Sasuke? Why was he even here on Konoha? The Hokage needs to be told. It was dark by the time Team 7 found themselves in secure position to rest for the night. Sasuke, still unconscious, was laying in the dark alcove under a tree root system. Naruto lit a small fire for him and Sakura to keep warm. The blonde took the first watch, surveying the darkness in their small area. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Asked Kyuubi. Something is bothering me, Kyuubi. Why would someone like Orochimaru show an interest in someone like Sasuke? Replied Naruto through his mental connection. Orochimaru was once a student of the Sandaime. As you know, those students went on to become the Sannin. But somewhere along the way he became corrupt, looking to find out the secrets of the world and learn every jutsu. However, he was stopped by the Sandaime, but at the cost of many lives, thanks to his evil and vile experiments. He then betrayed the village after being turned down as Yondaime. A spot that was filled by your father. Since that time he has spent years trying to find the secret of immortality, explained Kyuubi. A fool's errand, replied Naruto. Indeed, but that doesn't stop him from being a dangerous enemy. You did well against him, Naruto. I am very proud. But what did he place on Sasuke? I'm not sure, Naruto-kun. Maybe the Hokage or another seal master may be able to provide you with more information. Maybe you're right. Good night, Kyuubi. Good night, Naruto-kun. The sunlight peeking through the trees touched Naruto's closed eyelids, which immediately snapped open as he jumped to his feet. He jumped out into the open as Shiroiku, white lightning, appearing in his hand, thumb resting on the decorative tsuba. His bright blue eyes scanned for any threats. He could sense something in the distance. He's certainly quick on the draw, isn't he? Said a voice from the tree line. Naruto focused his bright blue eyes on the dimly lit tree line. 3 figures revealed themselves, 2 boys and a girl, each with a headband bearing the symbol of a musical note, the lead wrapped in dozens of bandages, his back hunched, and one visible eye staring at Naruto. State your intentions, snarled Naruto. We are here for Sasuke. Wake him up, said the mummy. Naruto smirked. Sorry, he's unavailable right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, he'll get back to you as soon as he can. The taller of the genin stepped forward, crossing his arms, his palms facing Naruto. Air was rushing out of the holes, an attack of some kind. Let me teach this fool a lesson, Dosu. Hein Zaku, but remember we are here for Sasuke. Zaku then rushed in and appeared at Naruto's side, his arms extended, palms flat. Air blasted from the palms as Zaku called out Zankyuha, decapitating air waves. The air blast sent rubble and debris blasting through the clearing. Sakura from her position, eyes widened in horror as Naruto disappeared. As the blast wave died down, Zaku started laughing in utter glee at the defeat of the loudmouth. Naruto whispered Sakura. Boy Baka, you're going to need to do better than that, screamed a voice. Zaku looked to the left and saw Naruto standing in the clearing. He looked no worse for wear despite the attack. Zaku grit his teeth and readied his arms once again. However, he never got the chance to as Naruto appeared in a flash and aimed an heavy kick towards the Sound's genin's head. The force sent Zaku flying as his limp body crashed through the body of a tree, snapping it in half. Dosu's single eye widened at the display as Naruto stepped towards them, his thumb pressing on the tsuba of Shiroiku, white lightning. Now you have two choices. I can either leave your blooded and mangled bodies to rot in this forest, or you can leave you scroll and live to fight another day. Make your choice, explained Naruto. The only female of the group growled. Just who the hell do you think you are, she screamed. Naruto's cold blue eyes bored into the girl's. You death if you do not shut your mouth. No bandage man, make your decision, you have 10 seconds. Dosu reached behind his back retrieving their earth scroll. Suddenly an intense wave of evil energy enveloped the clearing. Naruto looked over his shoulder and saw Sasuke had awoken and was surrounded by a dark aura. So you've come for me, have you, said the Uchiha. Sasuke, stand down. Keep quiet, Dobe. It's time they faced the might of an Uchiha. Naruto shook his head and appeared behind the foolish Uchiha and smacked the sheathed sword into boy's neck. The impact sent the boy reeling and once again was knocked unconscious. Now, as I was saying, throw me the scroll and leave. Dosu, knowing this was a good time to escape, grabbed Zaku, and along with the Kunoichi they departed the area. Naruto waited until they were gone before he turned back to the fallen Uchiha and his faithful tag-along. Unknown to the genin team hidden in the trees were teams 8, 9 and 10. The Leaf Genins were astounded by the display put on by the blonde, who easily dispatched his opponents, including that idiot Uchiha. He's not that impressive, thought Kiba. Naruto-kun, thought the Hyuga heiress. Shino said nothing, but his chakra-eating insects were going crazy at the power they sensed pouring from Naruto. Way to go, Naruto, thought Shikamaru. Yum, potato chips, thought the portly Akimichi. Sasuke-kun is still better, thought Ino. Naruto-kun's powers of youth are exploding out, thought Lee. That sword is sweet, thought Tenten. He is defying fate, and he will pay the price, thought Niji, narrowing his eyes. Naruto hauled the once again unconscious Uchiha to his shoulder to aid his travel. He hit a pressure point on the pink howler monkey's neck, knocking her out. The blonde then jumped into the trees, heading straight for the tower, now having both scrolls to complete their mission. The stone tower lay directly at the heart of the forest and was the finish line. Naruto entered and threw both scrolls onto the floor. The paper overlapped, revealing a seal, as white smoke puffed into the air to reveal a figure. Imino Iruka. Iruka-sensei, I need to see the Hokage immediately, asked Naruto, throwing Sasuke and Sakura to the floor. The academy teacher was shocked but nodded dumbly before he spoke. Alright Naruto, I'll take you to the Hokage. Also, you have completed the second test in record time. After I've had my say, Iruka-sensei, that won't matter, said Naruto. The pair then quickly left the chamber and navigated the halls of the tower. Soon enough they found themselves in the Hokage's chamber. Hokage-sama. Naruto has something he wishes to tell you. Sarutobi turned from his view out the tower window to face the blonde. The aged shinobi took note of Naruto's shredded jumpsuit and dirt that marred his skin. He knew the Chunin exams were no joke, but the expression on Naruto's face knew it was very important. Naruto-kun. Hokage-sama, I bring news that the traitor Orochimaru is in the village and was disguised as a genin to infiltrate the exams. He attacked us in the forest and placed a seal on the Uchiha. He explained he came here for him. I was unable to stop him, explained Naruto. Sarutobi's eyes widened at the news as he clicked his fingers, and several Anbu appeared, the masked elite ninja of the village and personnel guards of the Hokage. Taka, I want you and your team to closely monitor all sound shinobi in the village. If we are to stop Orochimaru, we must first know exactly what he is planning. Hi Hokage-sama. The Anbu team departed as Sarutobi once again turned to Naruto, who stood patiently awaiting further orders from his surrogate grandfather. Naruto-kun, I would like to thank you for efforts in bringing me this news. I would take this time to rest, as the exams have yet to conclude, said Sarutobi. Hi Hokage-sama. Naruto then turned and exited the room. He turned left, walking down the hall towards the lodgings that were housed in the tower. Inside the office, Sarutobi sat in his chair, letting loose a tired sigh. After all these years, his wayward student had returned to once again cause harm to the village. He closed his eyes as he sensed a presence appear in the office. He opened his eyes and saw Jiraiya standing in front of the desk. Did I hear right, sensei? Has that bastard returned to the village? He has Jiraiya. Naruto-kun did an outstanding job in escaping him, and he explained the Uchiha has been given the curse seal. I should see Kakashi and have the thing sealed. See to that, Jiraiya. The white-haired man nodded, disappearing in a puff of smoke, leaving the Hokage to his thoughts and troubles. That night Naruto sat cross-legged on his bed in deep meditation. In his mindscape he was pushing himself to new limits. He had created almost 500 Kage Bunshins who had split into teams, with one group working on Kenjutsu katas, another working on ninjutsu, the third group working on taijutsu. The fourth and final group of 125 clones were working on speed and evasion. Off in the distance, Kyuubi stood, a red kimono flowing in the breeze as she observed her student. She knew his fight with Orochimaru had affected him, and that was the reason he was pushing himself. "Naruto-kun, take a break," shouted the tailed beast. The real Naruto sheathed his blade and stepped over to Kyuubi as his clones continued to work. "What's up, Kyuubi?" he asked. "Naruto-kun, I know your fight with that snake bastard tested you, but you do not need to push yourself this hard this early." Naruto sighed. "That bastard will face his day kneeling before the Shinigami, but the reason I'm training is not because of him." "Then why, Naruto-kun?" "To protect those I care about, Kyuubi, to protect my village. The village my parents died to protect. That is my reason for fighting, my reason to continue." Kyuubi smiled at her student and contained her. He had such a noble soul in a world tainted by lies and deceit. "Those are noble goals, Naruto-kun. As I said, I will help you achieve these goals. Just don't push yourself, okay?" Naruto smiled. "Okay, sensei." The tailed beast watched the blonde walk back towards his battalion of clones to continue his training. She knew he would have a tough road ahead, but if anyone could walk that road, it was Naruto. 4 days passed. By the time the second test was complete, all of the Leaf teams had made it through, along with teams from AIM, Odo and Suna. Naruto stood on the balcony above a stone-flagged fighting arena. At the end of the room, a large statue stood overlooking the ring. Naruto was smirking and admiring his new threads. He had returned to his room one evening to find a set of combat boots, black cargo pants, a black vest, and a black and white knee-length leather jacket. The standard blue leaf headband now replaced with a black cloth version. He was awaiting the arrival of his team and sensei. That didn't take long. The scowling Uchiha and his faithful pet arrived, along with the aloof Jounin, whose head was as always buried in his orange book. Soon enough the remainder of the teams had arrived as the Hokage stepped forward and cleared his throat. "Congratulations on making it through the second test. However, as we have a higher number of participants than expected, we must hold preliminary rounds to whittle down the numbers." Suddenly a sickly-looking Chunin appeared on the field. "Hokage-sama, allow me to explain, please," he said. "Please do, Hade." 2 fighters will enter and battle until a winner is declared. Winners will advance to the Chunin exam finals, said Hade, directing everyone to the board at the back of the room. All prelim fights will follow canon, except Naruto will not be fighting Kiba. He has already been eliminated by one of the AIM genin. Naruto will fight Igatsu of AIM, remember him. The next participants please report to the ring. Uzumaki Naruto, vs. Igatsu. Naruto's eyes widened at the sight on the board as he read the name on the board. It was the same name of that mysterious AIM ninja he had met in the forest training ground. Naruto had ended his life, he had witnessed it with his own eyes. Naruto hopped the balcony and landed gracefully. The audience stepped forward to the railings to observe the battle. "Show me your power, dope, so I can take it from you," thought the Uchiha. Meanwhile, disguised as an Odo Jounin, Orochimaru smirked. "You interest me, Naruto-kun. Show me the extent of your abilities," thought the snake Sannin. Naruto faced his opponent, who was grinning like an idiot. "Tell me. I watched you die. How are you still alive?" asked Naruto. Igatsu folded his arms. "I was asked by my master to test you. I have not completed this task yet," said the genin. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "Who is your master?" Igatsu smiled, wagging a finger at the blonde. "If you want answers to those questions, Naruto, you must defeat me," he said. "Fine, have it your way," snarled Naruto, taking a fighting stance as Igatsu did the same. Hate then stepped between the pair and threw his hand down, calling out Hajime before he jumped away. Neither genin moved but stood motionless, waiting for the other to make the first move, the pair unwilling to upset the balance in the other's favor. "Be careful, Naruto-kun, we do not know the extent of this one's ability," said Kyuubi. "Understood." Meanwhile, up on the balcony, the AIM Jounin in charge of the team smirked, his arms folded as he intently watched the fight. "The master will be pleased," he thought. Naruto had now had enough of waiting and disappeared in a flash, closely followed by Igatsu. The blurs of the light dashed back and forth, each strike leaving sparks in their wake. With one final hit, the pair skidded away from each other, eyes locked, one again taking a stance, Naruto awaiting Igatsu's next move. It didn't take long. Naruto ducked under a punch aimed at his head, then backflipped, avoiding a sweeping low kick. Using the strength in his arms, he pushed himself up into the air, his body righting itself, and unleashed a ferocious roundhouse kick. The heel of Naruto's boot catching Igatsu in the jaw, an audible crack could be heard, only for the AIM genin to dissolve into a puddle of water. "Mizu Bunshin," thought Naruto. Naruto jumped backwards as a barrage of kunai rushed towards him. The blonde skidded across the stone floor, the muscles in his legs pushing to the side in a rapid change of direction, the kunai sailing past. Naruto reached inside his coat and pulled a single shuriken. He launched the single projectile towards Igatsu, his hands placed in a single seal as he called out his attack. Shuriken Cage Bunshin no Jutsu. One shuriken became 100 as they filled the arena. Naruto then windmilled his arms, energy gathering around his hands before he thrust them forward, calling out. Fuetin, Amatsuka's no Jutsu, wind style, heavenly wind. The fierce wind blasted through the arena, the wind increasing the speed and spin of the shurikens. Yagatsu smirked before he took a deep breath and called out his own jutsu. Peyton, Kazanta no Jutsu, fire style, volcano blast. An intense stream of flame escaped Yagatsu's mouth, quickly overwhelming the shurikens and further intensified by Naruto's wind blast. The flames changed from orange to white and rushed towards Naruto. Suiton, Sujinheki no Jutsu, water style, water formation wall. Naruto spat out a large stream of water in front of him. The white-hot flames made contact as the room was filled with steam, the combatant shrouded from view as the audience looked on in awe and admiration. From the balcony, one member of the audience grit his teeth in anger, his blood-red Sharingan eyes active, hoping to copy and many jutsu as he could. But was left empty-handed. Even though his could see the seals being created, his eyes simply would not copy them. Damn you dope, why can't I copy your jutsu? Tell me why, thought the Avenger. From his seat at the very far end of the room, Sarutobi was stoic, but his eyes betrayed his facade. He was deeply impressed with Naruto's performance so far, but there was something about the boy he was facing, along with the AIM team of ninja. Could they be in league with Orochimaru, thought the village leader. Pushing those thoughts to one side for the moment, he focused back on the battle as the steam cleared, revealing Naruto and his opponent to the audience once again. Igatsu smiled, a huge smile gracing his face. That was pretty good, Naruto-kun, he said, pulling a kunai from his belt and twirling it around his right hand. It's not over yet, Baka. It will be soon, Naruto-kun. My master asked me to test you, to test your new abilities. He has been watching you for some time. Igatsu, shouted the aim-jounin, alarmed at the word spilling from his mouth. Naruto smirked. It seems you was spilling secrets you were not meant to. It was my job to test you, Naruto-kun. My master decreed it that you be taken alive and bow before his almighty power, said Yagatsu, raising both hands into the air. I bow to no one. Now enough talk, let's finish this. Fine. Naruto threw his right arm to the side as Shiroiku, white lightning, appeared, then throwing his left arm to the side as his second katana Hisakikahe, flaming justice, materialized. Both blades hummed with energy as Naruto spun the blades deftly around his body. His chakra levels continued to build as a fierce wind howled around the leaf genin. The wind became so much the genin and their senseis had to shield their eyes. It continued to build, even the building began to shake. What's Naruto doing? Shouted Choji. Naruto-kun's flames of youth are exploding out, said the great green beast of Konoha, Might Guy Sensei of Team 9. Is this his true power, thought Sasuke. That power will be mine, thought Orochimaru. Mother shall have his blood. She screams to claim his blood, thought Sabaku no Gaara. Naruto spun his blade one final time before he disappeared in a flash of light that blinded almost everyone in the arena. Naruto appeared in a flash behind Yagatsu. The wind stopped abruptly as he sheathed his blades. Notoryu. Hashira no Y, two-sword style, pillar of light. As Naruto whispered those words, Yagatsu, now frozen stiff, a pillar of white light surrounded him. It then died down as plume of blood and mist sprayed into the air. The AIM genin let go his final breath before he slumped to the floor. Naruto turned to face his beaten opponent as Hate stepped forward. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto walked towards the stairs leading to the balcony, his eyes locked with the AIM jounin, who was staring right back. Naruto rejoined his team and smirked as he felt every eye on him, shocked at the display. At the end of the preliminary round, the Hokage assembled the winners down on the arena floor. Clearing his throat, he spoke to the assembled Chunin hopefuls. Congratulations to you, now you have now qualified for the Chunin exam finals. We will reconvene in exactly 1 month, so take your time to train and come back and show us you are worthy of being Chunin, explained Sarutobi. But the genin dismissed. Naruto locked eyes with Kakashi. The aloof jounin closed his book and looked at the blonde. I'll see you in a month, Kakashi-sensei. Alright Naruto, but please be careful and check in once in a while, won't you, replied Kakashi, giving a single-eye smile. Naruto nodded and began to walk away, but was stopped by a hand on his shoulder that spun him around. His bright blue eyes gazed upon a similar pair, only these were charcoal-colored and filled with anger. You going anywhere, dope? Not until you tell me where you got this power from, snarled Sasuke, his teeth clenched. You want to know where I got my power from, team, replied Naruto, a foxy grin gracing his face. Yes, tell me, urged the Uchiha. Naruto gripped Sasuke's wrist, the same one that lay on his shoulder, before he buried his opposite fist hard into the Avenger's stomach. Sasuke bent at the waist from the hit the air forced for his lungs. Naruto delivered a palm strike to the Sasuke's chest, sending him crashing into the wall at his back, the stone and cement cracking from the force. There's your answer, team. Power is for the deserving, for the protectors of this world, snarled Naruto, not for foolish little boys who only think of revenge. Naruto gave the knocked out Uchiha one final disgusted look before he disappeared in a flash of light, once again leaving onlookers shocked. Man, Naruto sure has changed, said Chaoji, munching on yet another bag of potato chips. Shikamaru replied in his ever-bored tone. Troublesome blonde, he said. Ino had other ideas. I wonder what his issue with Sasuke is, she said. I have no idea, but come on, let's go, said Shikamaru. Teams 8 left with them, the ever-exuberant Kiba and his dog grousing at their loss, the ever-stoic Shino saying nothing in reply. His worry got their badly injured teammate Hinata filling his mind. As the arena slowly emptied, Kakashi sighed and hauled up the out-cold Uchiha. He turned to face Sakura, who looked mad as hell about what Naruto had done to her beloved. Sakura, I won't be around for a while. I've been ordered to train Sasuke for the finals. I'll see you in a month, said Kakashi as he puffed away in a cloud of smoke. When I find Naruto, he's going to get such a beating though. The Pinket. Overlooking the village with the sun setting below the horizon bathing the village in a bright orange glow, Naruto sat atop his father's head on the Hokage monument. He was lost in thought over the events of the Chunin exams. These exams have become so complicated, thought Naruto. It wouldn't be your life without complications, Naruto-kun, replied Kyuubi. Thanks, Kyuubi, you really know how to keep a person's spirit up, said Naruto. Well, you won't have time to mope around, Naruto. You have exactly 1 month to train yourself into the ground, said Kyuubi. What do you have in mind? I believe it's time to show the world your true power and reveal yourself as Namikaze Uzumaki, Naruto. I have a few techniques that might help with that, explained Kyuubi. Sounds good, sensei. Naruto then suddenly cut his mental link as he felt a presence appear behind him. He knew thanks to his abilities exactly who this was. Hey kid. Naruto continued to look out at the setting sun. Jiraiya of the Sannin. To what do I owe the pleasure, said the blonde. So everything Sarutobi said was true. Yep. Thanks to a few special friends they unlocked my soul, memories and bloodlines, memories of my family, my mother, my father. You taught my father, didn't you, said Naruto, a wistful tone to his voice. Jiraiya sighed and sat down next to the boy, both looking out over the village, a village they had sworn oaths to protect and would now work together. So you wish to train me, Jiraiya stated Naruto. Yes, Naruto, I made a promise to your father and your mother that I would protect you. But I failed in task, and I would like nothing more than to make that up to you, Naruto said, Jiraiya hanging his head low. We pay tribute to those no longer with us, Jiraiya, but living our lives to the fullest. I know what my father asked of you, and I know thanks to those idiot counselors you believed I had died. But now we can put that all behind us and continue forward as master and student to bring justice to this tainted world, said Naruto smiling at the Sannin. Jiraiya smirked. It's as if Minato still lives on his son, thought the Sannin, thinking of his former student. Thank you, Naruto, we shall do this together to bring not only justice, but peace along with it, said Jiraiya with a clenched fist. So when do we start, Iro Sennin, said Naruto. Jiraiya laughed, then his mind registered exactly what Naruto had said and face faulted to the ground. The simple nickname Minato had given him meaning, perverted hermit. Don't call me that, brat, shouted Jiraiya. Sorry, Jiraiya-sensei, I knew my father would appreciate me saying that, said Naruto, sniggering behind a big smile. Ungrateful brat, muttered the Sannin. Both master and new student smiled before they laughed as the sun went down over the village hidden in the leaves. A new force had risen, and one that would bring peace to the shinobi world. But what evils would they face along the way? The evils soon to rise and do battle with the light. The morning after the preliminary rounds had been completed, in a run-down apartment building, a pair of bright blue eyes slowly opened in response to the sunlight streaming through his window. Naruto slowly sat up in bed, revealing his ripped torso, perfectly toned and defined muscle hidden under tanned skin. Since he had unlocked his abilities, this was just one of the new traits his body had become accustomed to. His right forearm bore the symbol of the Phoenix clan and contained his katana Hesakikahe, flaming justice. His left forearm bore the symbol of the White Tiger clan and contained his second katana Shiroiku, White Lightning. Naruto stood from the bed, revealing a third tattoo that covered his entire back, the symbol of the Dragon clan. This contained his third katana, each weapon a gift from the clan. Across his shoulders, etched into his skin, were a set of perfect tattooed angel wings, the gift bestowed upon him from the Uzumaki clan and the source of their incredible lifespan. Naruto began getting ready for his day, picking out his clothes and choosing a healthy breakfast of cereal and fruit. It had taken near threats to his life from Kyuubi to stop eating ramen for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Kyuubi went on to explain that ramen was the main reason he had been so short for his age. Naruto finished his breakfast and stood grabbing his leather jacket as he slipped his arms into the sleeves. The blonde moved towards his front door, only to come face to face with a Nico, cat, mask Anbu ninja who stood blocking Naruto's advance. Uzumaki-san, you have been requested by Hokage-sama to attend a council meeting, said Nico, before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Naruto sighed, stuffing his hands into his pockets before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto appeared into the council chamber of Konoha. A large cavernous room with a single long table and chairs lining its edge. He could hear shouts and raising voices of the numerous ninja and villagers sat around the table. Moments earlier, Sarutobi once again sat slumped into his seat. Why, you may ask? Because once again he had to listen to this council's incessant babbling about Naruto, about why he should be excluded from the Chunin exams, why he should be teaching Uchiha his techniques. Uchiha-loving morons, thought Sarutobi. The sandane was broken from his thoughts by another voice, this one he knew well, and from the tone it was clear it was Danzo, the ever-scheming warhawk. Sarutobi, we have received reports of a strange power displayed by the boy during the exams. He should be placed in confinement until we can better understand and ensure he is not a danger to his village, said Danzo, once again moving to bring the Kyuubi under his control. Danzo, forget that one eye, what about the injury sustained by Sasuke during the exams? We heard he almost put the precious last Uchiha through a wall, screeched a middle-aged pink-haired woman. Before Sarutobi could respond, another voice interceded. Present time. That team deserved everything he got, shouted Naruto, having heard enough despite his short time in the council room. The assembled members turned to face the blonde as he approached the sandame and bowed his head in respect. You requested my presence, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi laughed at Naruto's unusual respectful tone. Yes, Naruto-kun, I have invited you to discuss some of the events in the Chunin exams. Naruto nodded as he stood next to the sandame facing the council members, a smirk gracing his face that unnerved some of the members. Naruto, would you care to explain the events of the second test, asked Sarutobi. During the course of the second exam, my team was attacked by an S-rank missing nin, who later identified himself as Orochimaru of the Sannin. He showed a vested interest in obtaining Uchiha Sasuke, clearly due to the fool's Sharingan, said Naruto, addressing the council. For what possible need would Orochimaru require the Sharingan, asked Yamanaka Inochi, Ino's father and head of the Yamanaka clan. He clearly wishes to obtain the Sharingan to fulfill his twisted dream of learn all the jutsu of the world, said Naruto. That is a fair estimation, said Nara Shikaku, Jounin commander of the village and head of the Nara clan. What are you people talking about? Sasuke-kun would never betray this village to that swine, screeched a voice, the older woman's pink hair, clearly identifying her and proving exactly who she was, Sakura's mother. If you think that, then you're as misguided as your daughter, growled Naruto. What did you say, Dem? Hokage-sama, is your law still in effect, asked Naruto, a sweet tone to his voice. Yes. Yes, it is. Excellent. Suddenly an intense wave of pressure and killing intent flooded the room, so much so even the Hokage had trouble remaining upright. The pink-haired offender, having stood from her seat, was slammed face first into the wood of the table below. Green eyes widened in fear as she saw a shadow advancing towards her, glowing yellow eyes boring holes into her body. The room changed color, black and red flooding the space, the sound created almost deafening. If you want a demon, then you've got one, screamed the shadow. The woman screamed in absolute fear until everything suddenly returned to normal. The colors, sounds and surroundings, everything was as it was before. What was that? Asked a council member. I do not divulge secrets, I afraid, said Naruto, a foxy grin gracing his face. He didn't want to explain that the whole display was simply an elaborate ninjutsu, powerful enough to even trick the Sharingan, much to Danzo's annoyance. Hokage-sama, the threat posed by Orochimaru is too much to ignore. He clearly has a motive for appearing in the village. Now we don't know what that is, but we must be prepared, said Naruto. Well, said Naruto, you may leave. I don't think we of the council require anything further from you, said Sarutobi. As you wish, Hokage-sama. Actually, I have a question for you, boy, said Danzo from his position on the civilian side of the council. I do not answer to civilians, bandage man. If you have a question you can direct them to Hokage-sama, said Naruto, looking over his left shoulder. How dare you? You will answer our questions, you filthy demon, said another civilian councillor, a merchant of the village and owner of many shops in the village, all of which refused Naruto when he was a child due to the Kyuubi. Naruto tightened his fist and disappeared in a flash before a splash to blood landed on the wooden table. The headless body of the merchant slumped to the ground. Naruto had appeared on the table in a crouch on his haunches, his blade held in a reverse grip with droplets of blood falling from the tip, and landed on the table before. Listen and listen well, I am no one's whipping boy anymore. You break the law, I end your life. It's as simple as that, said Naruto, hopping off the table and sheathing his blade. By your leave, Hokage-sama, said the blonde before disappearing in a flash. Man, I like that kid, he sure knows who to make the days interesting, said the feral Inyazuka Tsume, leader of the Inyazuka clan and Kiba's mother. Sarutobi smirked. I call this meeting to a close, he said, standing from the table. The remaining council members filed out, some stepping over the dead body of the merchant. As two Anbu appeared to remove the body, Danzo remained in his seat, his mind calculating the best way to either bring the Kyuubi boy under his control or eliminate him as a threat. I must bide my time and find the perfect moment to strike, though the Warhawk before he departed, his scheming mind plotting Naruto's end. He just made the worst mistake of his life. Later that afternoon, Naruto was standing in middle of an empty training field, his eyes closed, focusing his energy. Suddenly 20 shadow clones puffed into existence and attacked their creator. Naruto threw his arm to the side as Shiroiku, white lightning, appeared. Naruto then proceeded to dispatch the clones in short order. His mind focused his attack swift, sharp and deadly. As soon as the original 20 were dispatched, the blonde created another 40 clones. Once again Naruto swiftly dispatched his attackers. Unknown to Naruto, he was being watched from a tree at the edge of the grassy area. Balanced on a branch was Higurashi Tenten, member of Team 9 and resident weapons specialist. The bun-headed girl had been so impressed with Naruto's kenjutsu skill, which he displayed in the exam, she needed to see his blades in action again. From his position on the grassy the area strewn with shadow clones that were slowly puffing away in clouds of white smoke, Naruto could sense he was being watched. He could sense no malice or ill will coming from the observer, so they were not an enemy, but he wanted them to reveal themselves nonetheless. He reached down to his thigh holster and spun a kunai dagger between his fingers and launched it into the tree line. Tenten saw the bladed weapon at the very last moment and ducked, and it impacted with a thud into the body of the tree at her back. Rather than be a human pincushion, she jumped from her hiding spot and landed in the grassy area. Naruto smirked before sheathing his blade and facing the young girl. Tenten-san, were you watching me by any chance? Asked Naruto. Tenten blushed slightly before shaking her head clearer. No, I wasn't, but I saw you training, and your swords are such beautiful pieces. I wanted a closer look, she said. Naruto folded his arms, rocking back on his heels. Well, if you wanted a closer look, all you had to do was ask. What do you say to a friendly spar? He said. The hopeful expression appeared in her eyes. Really, you want to spar? She asked. Naruto nodded. Sure, it's kind of hard to find a good sparring partner, and with Zabuza-sensei always out of the village on some mission, it's hard sometimes, you know. Tenten smiled before pulling a Jan sword from her scroll and taking a stance. Naruto joined her, taking his stance. Shiroiku, white lightning, appeared once again. What are the rules? Asked Tenten. No body contact, guard break wins a point, replied Naruto. Sure, you ready? Are you? The pair then jumped towards each other and engaged in a fast-paced series of blows and counter-blows. Naruto brought up Shiroiku, blocking a heavy strike from Tenten's Jan. The blonde simply parried away the strike as the bun-headed girl flipped through the air and landed on her feet. I got to say, Tenten, your technique is perfect. What you lack in strength you clearly make up for it with technique, praised Naruto. Once again Tenten blushed. Thanks, you're no so bad yourself. Naruto smiled before he readied his sword once again, ready for round 2. Sure. Once again the pair engaged in a heated duel, sparks flying from their respective blades, steel clashing with steel, each one fighting for dominance. Tenten's eyes widened as she saw Naruto's blade rush towards her, raising her own blade to block. Naruto saw the block coming and adjusted the angle of his attack. The move sent Tenten's blade flying from her hand and spinning through the air, the sharpened point embedding deep in the ground. Naruto then touched the flat side of his blade to her bare arm, winning him the point. I believe that is 1 point to me, said Naruto. You got lucky with that, blondie, said Tenten, growling at him. Then prove me wrong. The pair continued their duel until neither could gain the upper hand, each ending the battle with 5 points each. By now the sun had gone down and darkness had enveloped the village. Tenten stood to bid Naruto a goodbye. We should do this again sometime, Naruto, she said, helping him to his feet. Most definitely, replied the blonde. Tenten laughed before placing a kiss on the blonde's cheek and dashing away from the training ground on her way home. Naruto, shocked at her actions, rested a hand on the area she had pecked. Ooh, Naruto-kun's got a girlfriend, mocked Kyuubi from inside his mind. Quiet you, mumbled Naruto before he too departed on his way home. As of tomorrow morning, he would begin his training with Jiraiya of the Sannin. The following morning, with the sun slowly inching up into clear blue sky, Naruto awoke early. Jumping from his bed, he showered and ate a light but fulfilling breakfast before he got dressed and grabbed his gear as he left his modest apartment and made his way towards the northern gate of the village. Upon his arrival, he was greeted by the Sannin, who was already waiting for him. The white-haired man smiled and moved from his leaning post at the door of the gate. Morning, kid. Morning, Jiraiya-sensei, said Naruto, a big smile gracing his features. The white-haired man smiled at the respectful title, and the smile gracing the boy's face reminded him so much of his father, the Yondaime. So are you ready to begin your training? Naruto nodded. Sure, shall we go? Jiraiya nodded as the pair left through the gate and tracked along the road leading away from Konoha. The pair remained silent, content that the moment required no conversation. The spot Jiraiya had planned for Naruto's training was a day's travel from the village in the mountainous region to the north. It was rarely visited by others and the perfect spot to train someone of Naruto's destructive abilities. They reached their destination the following morning high in the mountains. The spot Jiraiya had chosen was a huge natural rock bowl carved out of the stone by nature eons ago. The formation was bracketed with peaks on every side, sheltered from the weather and harsh winds, but solitary enough not to attract unwanted attention. Naruto threw his bag down and faced Jiraiya. So where do we start, sensei? Asked Naruto. The white-haired man reached into his own pack and threw a water balloon towards Naruto, who deftly caught the object. The blonde looked questioningly at Jiraiya, wondering what he was supposed to do with a water balloon. Mind explaining, sensei? Jiraiya laughed at the boy's confused expression. Naruto, the technique I'm about to teach you was created by your father, a power technique known as the Rasengan. The water balloon is your first step in learning it. Jiraiya stopped talking abruptly when he heard a pop and a splash to water land on the ground. Naruto, his mind quickly deducing the technique required all the while Jiraiya was talking, had popped the water balloon with chakra alone. The task was designed to control the water inside the balloon, with chakra alone sending the water inside in multiple different directions, emphasizing rotation. I've got to say, kid, you are real quick study, said Jiraiya, throwing another balloon towards Naruto, who once again caught the object. Naruto nodded and placed the water balloon in his hand, and in no time at all the object burst once again, sending water splashing to the ground. Jiraiya had Naruto practice this dozens on times, each time with the same result. Hatch burst again. Alright Naruto, next step. Jiraiya reached into his pack again and threw Naruto a rubber ball this time. I understand. First step gain rotation, second step increase power, said Naruto, smiling as he began the process. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes at the boy. Are you sure you not read up on this before, Naruto? He asked. Nope, access to memories doesn't necessarily mean access to techniques, sensei, quipped Naruto, as the rubber ball in his hand rippled and bulged with the movement of chakra. Right, sure, cheeky brat, mumbled Jiraiya. Both sensei and student continued this process the rest of the day, until the time came to complete the toughest part of the process, to combine the first and second to create the spinning destructive ball of chakra known as the Rasengan. Naruto stood in the center of the bowl formation and extended his hand, chakra energy swirling in his hand and forming a perfect sphere of power. Jiraiya watching with rapt attention at this amazing feat. It had taken the boy's father nearly 3 years to develop the technique. It took a week for he himself to learn it, but this boy, this very special boy, had learned it in just one day. Incredible. Naruto focused his eyes on the target and dashed forward, leaving a trail of dust in his wake. He jumped and thrust his hand, embedding it deep into the rock face. He called out, Rasengan. The ball of power blew apart large chunks of the rock face and sent a cloud of dust high into the air. The resulting shock wave even knocked the white-haired Sannin from his seat. The dust cleared as the Sannin righted himself and saw Naruto once again standing in the center of the bowl, a goofy grin on his face. How was that, Jiraiya-sensei? Shouted Naruto. Jiraiya sat eyes wide and jaw hung low in absolute shock at this boy who not only learned the Rasengan in one day, but had perfected to a much greater degree than even him or maybe even his father. Naruto, it was perfect, absolutely perfect, well done, Jiraiya shouted. Naruto, smiling, folded his arms and rocking back on his heels, happy with his accomplishments and achievements, especially considering the technique was designed by his father and had taken him 3 years to create. You know he got the idea from me, right, said Kyuubi. Yes, I know, not like you haven't told me that more than once in the last 24 hours, Kyuubi replied. Naruto dryly through his mind. I'm making sure credit is paid to the correct people, replied the great beast. Naruto shook his head and didn't respond to Kyuubi's statement. Was Jiraiya approached, still clapping. So what now, sensei? Asked the blonde. The white-haired Sannin smiling fondly and handed Naruto 3 scrolls. Taking the objects from his hands, Naruto regarded them with confusion. What are these, Jiraiya-sensei? He asked. Naruto, it's time you learn a few things about your parents and bloodlines they passed on to you and the power you have been gifted, said Jiraiya cryptically. Naruto nodded and walked over to a nearby rock. He opened the first scroll, eyes widening at its title. Duration no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God Technique. It was the very technique that made the Yondaime Hokage Namikaze Minato the fastest ninja to have ever lived, the very technique that granted him his deadly nickname as Konoha no Kairoi Senki, Konoha's Yellow Flash. Originally created by the Nidaime Hokage through the use of a seal formula, it allowed the user to mark a specific target or object, then traveling through a void in space appear instantly at that given location. Naruto looked at Jiraiya shocked. Why was he being given this? What had he done to deserve the scroll containing details of a Hokage's signature jutsu? Sensei, why have you given me this? Asked the blonde. Jiraiya laughed. Because your father would have wanted you to have it, Naruto. Oh, I remember when Minato and Kushina told me they were pregnant with you, they were both so proud. They would even more proud of you now, Naruto, to see the man you have become. I think it's time that you continue your family's legacy, and this can be your first step, said Jiraiya. Naruto didn't respond. His head hung low as fat tears escaped his shimmering blue eyes. Water droplets landed on the dusty ground. He missed his parents, both having been stolen from him. But he made himself a promise that he would make them proud and worthy enough to bear the name of Namikaze and Uzumaki. Naruto placed the Hiraishin scroll gently on the ground and picked up the second scroll. He smiled as he read the title of the open document. The Namikaze clan bloodline Gonjin, the 5 rings. Naruto sat and absorbed all of the information contained within the scroll. The Gonjin or 5 rings allowed absolute mastery over the elements of ninjutsu. However, there were different stages that Naruto was not previously aware of. The second stage was known as Gonjin. Sashire, the 5 rings. Element Soul, it allowed the user to become the pure embodiment of a chosen element. Be that fire, water, earth, wind, or lightning, and grant the user enhanced abilities while remaining in this form. However, it only allows a user a set time limit of 30 minutes in each. The most powerful and final stage of the Gonjin was known as Gonjin Tokukai, the 5 rings. Endless release, it allows the user to combine all the elements into their body, increasing their power tenfold. But much like Sashire, this form allows only 15 minutes of use due to the immense strain placed on the body. Naruto looked up from the scroll to see that Jiraiya had fallen asleep and night had descended over mountains. Naruto had been so engrossed in his reading, he had lost track of time. Feeling tired himself, he placed the scrolls away before grabbing his own sleeping bag and tucking himself in to grab some shut-eye. Sleep came quickly. For the next 29 days Naruto worked himself tirelessly in strengthening his abilities. For the goofball that Jiraiya often portrayed, he was a damn slave driver when it came to training. At the end of each day Naruto could barely move his chakra levels low, his muscles screaming in protest. When resting, Kyuubi would take over training, within Naruto's mindscape. On the final day of training, the pair headed back to the village for the Chunin exam finals, Naruto smirking quietly confident in his newfound abilities, and Jiraiya grinning like an idiot over his student. It was time to reveal Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto to the world. In Konoha for the last week, nobles and dignitaries had been arriving looking forward to coming events. In the stadium, from his seat on the royal balcony, Sarutobi stood from his chair and walked towards the railing. He was starting to get worried as Naruto had not returned and he was in the first match facing Hyuga Neji. Pushing those thoughts to the side for a brief moment, he spoke into the awaiting microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chunin exam finals. Today we will bring to a close the event that sees Genin strive to become Chunin, to see if they have the power, spirit and strength of mind to be put forward for promotion. The matches will begin shortly, and we shall keep a keen eye of those who have what it takes. Good luck to you all. Sarutobi reported back to his seat as another dignitary arrived, flanked by 2 guards each bearing the mark of Sunagakure no Sado. The Yondaime Kazekage had arrived after accepting an invitation from the Hokage. Ah, Kazekage Dono, I trust your trip wasn't too arduous, said Sarutobi jovially. No, it wasn't, Hokage Dono. Once again thank you for the invitation, replied the Kazekage, taking his seat beside the Hokage, flanked by his guards. Unknown to the Hokage, the Kazekage was an imposter. It was actually Orochimaru in disguise, who had arrived to put his plan into action. The crowd cheered on the Hokage's words. Meanwhile, in the crowd, the Konoha genin that unfortunately did not make the finals were watching with their senseis. So do you think Naruto has a chance against Neji, asked Kiba. I'm not sure, but the way he dispatched that Aimnin in the preliminaries sure does give him hope, said Shino. Hinata was silent as his teammates discussed the object of her affection. He was worried for him. Neji was very strong for his age, and master of Juken. Would Naruto stand a chance against her? She wasn't sure. Still nursing injuries from Neji's severe beatdown of her during the preliminaries, she hoped Naruto would be okay. I think Naruto's got this in bag, said Ino from seats further down. That teammate. You think so? Replied Choji, munching on yet more potato chips. Sakura sat with time, had other ideas. Naruto Baka has no hope in beating Neji. How can the dead last hope to beat someone like him, she screeched. Down on the arena floor, a bandana wearing Takebetsu Jounin appeared, a silver senbon needle clenched between his teeth. Alright, I'm sure and I shall be proctor for the final exam. Will Hyuga Neji and Uzumaki Naruto report to the arena, shouted Genma. Neji smirking appeared on the area floor, his hands stuffed into his pockets, confident he would be putting the blonde idiot in his place. So misguided. However, after several minutes Naruto had yet to arrive. Genma looked towards the Hokage wanting clarification on what he should do. Sarutobi signaled 1 more minute as the Jounin nodded in response. Uzumaki Naruto has 1 more minute to report to the arena. Fool those who defy fate often fail, thought the arrogant Hyuga. Suddenly an intense wind blew through the arena, blocking everyone's vision as a shadow, then began to fall from the sky, dropping rapidly to the ground below. The shadow landed in a crouched position, his fist buried into the dirt, standing to a full height. The wind died down to reveal it was Naruto, still grinning with glee that he had hopefully arrived in time. Boy, Genma-sen, I'm not late, am I, asked the blonde. Genma smirked. No, Naruto, you had 10 seconds to spare. Are you ready to begin your match? Asked the Jounin. I was born ready, replied Naruto, his leather jacket moving in the slight breeze that remained following his arrival. Neji smirked at the blonde's words. So you decided to show up, fool, your mere presence here, simply delaying the inevitable. You will lose and kneel before me, said Neji. Why don't you let your actions speak for your foolish mouth? Hyuga growled. Naruto, his anger had not been tempered since his time away, memories fresh from what this arrogant fool had done to his own cousin in the preliminaries rounds. My actions will speak volumes, fool. The fates have decreed it, replied Neji, taking the classic Juken stance. Enough of your fate mumbo jumbo, we each make our fate, and if the only way I can teach you that, Hyuga, is by spilling your blood, so be it, growled Naruto, taking his own Taijutsu stance. Alright, enough trash talk, fighters ready, shouted Genma as he raised his hand into the sky above Hajime. He finished before jumping clear and out of danger. Neither competitor moved at first as cold blue eyes stared into lifeless white ones. Naruto shifted his right onto his front foot and disappeared in a flash, reappearing above and behind Neji, his fist reared back, ready to strike the first blow. Naruto hung in the air, his fist at the ready to strike from the blind side of the arrogant Hyuga. He grit his teeth, trying desperately to keep a lid on his anger for the genin. Naruto fist now mere inches from the Hyuga's face, only for it to stop, held back by an invisible force. Neji smirked as chakra swirled around him. He then spun his body, a dome of chakra encircling him, as he called out, Pain, a signature technique of the main Hyuga family and only taught to its members, meaning Neji's use of it as a branch member was highly irregular. The shock of this evident by the face of Hyuga Hiashi, who was seated in the crowd with his youngest daughter Hanabi. "Kusama, isn't that?" whispered Hanabi. "Yes, the signature of main house," replied Hiashi. "Neji, how strong have you become?" privately through the clan head. Naruto smirked as he skidded back across the ground before standing to his full height. Neji was stopped his spin as his chakra dome disappeared. "Interesting for you to utilize the Kaiten, the signature technique of the main family. Do they know you have this ability?" asked Naruto. Neji glared at the blonde. "I'm stronger than any of the main branch. I have nothing but hate for those fools, and I will prove myself to them." "And you, Uzumaki?" growled Neji. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "To live a life driven by hate is no life at all, Hyuga. You are blinded by it, and you will pay the price before this day is done," said Naruto, his voice devoid of all emotion. Neji smirked. "The fates have already foreseen you defeat at my hand, Uzumaki. You would do well to heed their call." Naruto took his stance, closing his fists. "I was never too good at following orders. TCH. Naruto smiled before he disappeared in a flash. Neji stood ready in his Jaiken stance as Naruto reappeared behind him once again. His chakra-covered hand struck Naruto, only for the blonde to disappear in a puff of smoke. Naruto flashed in right in front of Neji, crouched low, his closed fist covered in chakra, rushing at close range as the blonde called out, "Dasoku. Nenshifushi, high gear, burning knuckle." Naruto fist became enveloped in dense chakra and impacted Neji's chest. The hit sent the Hyuga rocketing across the arena and impacting the concrete of the wall at its edge. The crowd was instantly shocked into silence at the incredible hit delivered by the supposed dead last had landed and overpowered the Hyuga genin with mere taijutsu. Neji fell from the impact crater high above the ground in a heap. His entire body ached, his chest heaved, fighting for breath as he spat a glob of blood onto the ground. "This proves my point, Hyuga, that there is always someone out there that is stronger, faster and just better than you. Fate is something that guides our lives." You are correct in that statement, but it only guides us based on the decisions we make. This day you made the decision to underestimate your opponent, and you have now paid the price. You need to step back and look at your surroundings, rather than dwell on the past, on the decision of a man who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect his own blood, said Naruto. Neji's wide eyes widened. "How did you know that?" he whispered. Naruto smirked. "I just know things, and I'm sure your father did not want you to grow up hating and turning your back on the family he gave his life to save. Put your faith in Hinata-chan, place your support in her, Hyuga Neji, and help her achieve her dream of changing the Hyuga clan for the better." From the crowd, Hinata blushed at Naruto's praise for her. Hiashi hung his head in shame over the events that had led to this moment. Neji then slowly dragged his tired body back to a vertical base, focused his eyes on the blonde before a smirk overtook his face. "I have never heard such pitiful words from a fool who knows nothing about what it's like to grow up alone, to know hatred simply for being born on the wrong side of a fabled house," snarled Neji. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Clearly his words weren't getting through to the foolish Hyuga. Naruto tightened his fist, his eyes glared at the arrogant fool. "You should think before opening your foolish mouth, Hyuga. No, I'm going to show you the error of your ways," Naruto growled before he flashed out. Neji stood ready. Naruto rushed in, he sending the Hyuga once again flying towards the arena wall with a thunderous kick, only this time the branch member had used substitution, turning into a block of tree. Naruto turned and ducked under a vicious Jaiken strike. The blonde then extended his leg, burying into the boy's stomach. Neji coughed, trying to force air into his depleted lungs. Naruto pushed his entire body up using one arm and drove both feet into Neji's face, sending him flying into the air. His limp body landed and skidded across the dirt. Meanwhile, up in the crowd, murmurs and whispers were rampant among the masses. A Hyuga was being overpowered with nothing but taijutsu. The mere thought was unheard of, but a display was being put on, and it was shocking to say the least. From the Hokage's box, a disguised Orochimaru dressed as the Kazekage was observing the fight with glee, a sickening smile gracing his face hidden behind a white cloth that obscured his face. "That is excellent, Naruto-kun, show me more, show me your abilities," thought the Sannin. "Hokage don't know, that blonde is very impressive to overpower a member of the Hyuga clan with simple taijutsu," said Orochimaru as the Kazekage. Sarutobi smiled. "Yes, well, Naruto has always been one to surprise people," said the Hokage. "I should think so, I've trained him after all," said another voice. Both the Hokage and Kazekage turned to see the Jiraiya had joined them in the Hokage's box. The Gama Sannin smirked as he stood next to Sarutobi. Orochimaru's eyes widened at the arrival of his former teammate. Jiraiya, what is he doing here, he thought. So how's the kid doing, sensei, asked Jiraiya. Very well indeed. Jiraiya chuckled as he cast his vision to the arena to observe his students fight. Naruto stepped calmly towards the fallen Hyuga who was struggling to his feet as he spat a glob of blood to the ground, his Byakugan active as glaring at the blonde as he growled at his opponent. He knew his eyes allowed him to see every movement the blonde was making, but his reactions just simply could not keep up him. Can you see the error of your ways, Hyuga? What are you babbling about, Uzumaki? Naruto smirked. Can't you see that as long as you hold hate in your heart, you cannot hope to defeat me? We'll see about that, fool, screamed Neji as chakra engulfed his hands and rushed towards Naruto. You are within my field of divination, he said, striking Naruto with the first of many two-fingered strikes. Neji moved in rapid succession, striking Naruto in multiple locations, before landing the final hit as he called out. Hakirakujkin SHM, 8 trigrams, 64 palms. A smirk appeared on Neji's face as he landed his final strike, a sense of accomplishment filling his body. However, much to his surprise, Naruto just stood rigid, his head hung low, his blonde hair casting a shadow over his eyes. Naruto-kun, whispered Hinata from her spot in the crowd watching the fight, having recovered in it from her injury sustained in the last round. Man, do you think Naruto's okay, asked Shaoji looking at Ino seated next to him. I don't know, murmured Ino. Kiba, the voice of optimism. Come on guys, this is Naruto, he'll be fine, said Kiba with his dog Akamaru, voicing his agreement with a bark. The Genin team watching closely for what was about to happen. The arena itself became silent as they waiting to see what would happen next. A soft breeze blew through as Naruto's jacket moved with it as the blonde spoke. Your attacks lack conviction, attacks that are filled with hate. Now your lesson begins, Hyuga Neji. I have tried to reason with you, but you have failed to heed my words. Now you will pay the price, whispered Naruto. Neji was shocked. No one should be standing after attacks like the ones he had just delivered to the blonde. How is he still standing, he thought. Neji was unprepared for what happened next as a fist impacted his face, sending him flying once again. Naruto blasted from his spot towards the sailing Genin. Naruto appeared in front of Neji's flying body and blasting him in the other direction with a solid kick. The blonde gave chase, once again appearing in front of the Hyuga as he gave him a hammer blow with both fists, sending his body thundering into the ground, smoke rising from the crater. Naruto, almost floating above the hole in the ground that contained Hyuga Neji, flashed through a series of hand seals before he called out. Raiden, Rikuyu no Jutsu, lightning style, lightning strike. Naruto raised both hands as the sky above darkened as two large streams of lightning streaked down and converged in Naruto's hands. The blonde then thrust them down as two concentrated beams of lightning energy impacted the ground. The arena was filled with smoke following the large explosion. Seconds later the sky above cleared as did the smoke as Naruto slowly drifted down to the ground, his white jacket moving the wind. The blonde then stepped towards the now large crater that had formed in the arena floor. Laying the middle was a beaten and bloody Hyuga Neji. None of his injuries were life-threatening but certainly hurt. Naruto would never intentionally hurt a fellow ninja of the leaf short of the foolish Uchiha, but it didn't stop him from teaching the Hyuga lesson. Your lesson is complete, Hyuga Neji. You must place your faith in Hinata, because for all that you did to her, she still loves you like a family member should. Because if she hopes to change the Hyuga clan, she will need your help, that I can be sure of. Naruto then turned and walked away from the fallen Genin. Why do you care so much? Gasped out the injured Neji. Naruto turned and looked over his shoulder. Because I too know what it is like to have a life of loneliness, to have a life where hatred is the only emotion you experience. But unlike you, Hyuga Neji have risen above the hate, gathered friends and loved one to guide me on my journey, and now you must do the same if you wish to have a meaningful life. Remember, Hyuga, hatred only begets more hatred, and it will consume you unless you let it go and step into the light, said Naruto, walking away for good. Genma smirked as he appeared back on the field. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto, he shouted as medic teams rushed towards the fallen Hyuga. The crowd went wild at that tremendous match. Naruto smirked as he raised his hand in victory. Up in the Hokage box, Jiraiya was going nuts at Naruto's display. Hahaha, way to go, Kitty shouted, much to Sarutobi's amusement. That boy could be a problem for my future plans if he remains alive, thought Orochimaru. The invasion proceeds as planned. His final thought as he made a small hand signal to his agents embedded in the finals crowd. It was time for the next match. Authors note the finals remain canon. Kankuro forfeited his match against Shino as planned. Shikamaru lost his match against Temari. Now it remains to see Gaara vs Sasuke. Subaku no Gaara floated down to the arena on a cloud-like formation of sand as stepped stoically towards the middle of the arena floor. Would Uchiha Sasuke please report to the arena, shouted Genma. Minutes passed as the foolish Uchiha failed to appear, much to the displeasure of the awaiting crowd. From the Hokage box, Sarutobi looked displeased at the delay as he called one of his guards closer. Tell Genma Uchiha Sasuke has one more minute to the report or he forfeits his match, said the village leader. Hi Hokage-sama. The guard relayed the orders to Genma, who once again raised his hand. Uchiha Sasuke has 1 minute to report to the arena or he forfeits, said the Takubetsu Jounin. The crowd voiced their displeasure at the decision as the disguised Orochimaru turned to the Hokage Dono. "I think we should allow Sasuke to fight. Many have come to see the last Uchiha fight," he said. Sarutobi looked unimpressed at the Kazekage plea. "Kazekage Dono, if this was combat and the Uchiha arrived late, his comrades may die. We cannot make exceptions based on lineage," replied the Hokage. The minute had passed. Uchiha Sasuke had failed to appear. "The finals will continue with Subaku no Gaara the winner by forfeit. Now would Uzumaki Naruto please report to the arena," shouted Genma. The aforementioned blonde then appeared in the arena in a puff of smoke, standing some distance from Gaara, who was grinning like a madman. Now he would finally have his chance to face the blonde, as his tenant had been screaming to spill his blonde for some time. "Mother wants your blood, Uzumaki," said Gaara. "Well, tell you mother she got some filthy habits," replied the blonde. At that moment in a puff of smoke appeared and scowling Uchiha Sasuke and the aloof Jounin had Kakashi. "Are we late?" asked Kakashi. Genma was not happy. "Yes you are, and the Uchiha has been disqualified. Now get out of the arena, we need to proceed with the finals." "What? You can't disqualified me. I'm the last Uchiha I need to fight, give me the dope spot," screamed Sasuke. Another screech could be heard from the crowd, clearly the voice of Sasuke's number one fan, Haruno Sakura, who was shaking her fist in the air. "Let Sasuke fight," she screamed. Sasuke turned and stomped towards Naruto, who just stood arms folded as he regarded the foolish Uchiha like something you would scrape off the end of your boot. Sasuke growled under his breath at the blonde. "This is my fight, dope, now stand aside." Naruto smiling unfolded his arms. "I'll tell you what, Sasuke, I'll fight you for it." "How's that?" said Naruto, much to the Uchiha's enjoyment. "Any objections, Genma-san?" asked Naruto, looking at the toothpick chewing Jounin. "None here, kid, just be quick," he said. "Alright." Naruto then in a flash moved back the edges of his jacket and spun a pair of the kunai through his fingers in each of his hands. With the same speed as he drew his blades, he slashed with his daggers, cutting the Uchiha deeply in the shape of an X as he called out. "Tentensen. X Hensei. Blade edge, X formation." Naruto then sent Uchiha flying with a solid straight leg kick to the jaw. Sasuke tumbled through the air, every attack so fast and precise, he didn't even have time to activate his fabled Sharingan. The Uchiha landed in a heap on the ground some distance away. The kid was out cold. Meanwhile, up in the crowd, Sakura screamed for her beloved Sasuke-kun, as did many other Sasuke supporters. "Was that quick enough, Genma-san?" asked Naruto, smiling, but his eyes never leaving the dangerous Subaku no Gaara. Genma shook his head at the kid's antics. "Kakashi, take your student and get him some medical attention," ordered Genma. "Right," replied the aloof Jounin as he grabbed the foolish Uchiha and disappeared in a puff of smoke. "Alright, the Chunin exam finals will continue with Subaku no Gaara facing Uzumaki Naruto," announced Genma, as the noise level from the crowd rose, wondering what kind of display Naruto would put on for them. "Fighters ready?" asked Genma. "Hajime." Neither Naruto nor Gaara moved as Genma jumped away. A wind blew through the arena once more, as a small grouping of cherry blossoms drifted into the arena on the wind. A single blossom then fell towards the ground. As the delicate pink flower landed, Naruto flashed out at tremendous speed towards Gaara, his fist thundering towards the Genin's face. As soon as Genin's shield moved to protect him, Naruto's fist blasted through the sand and onwards towards its target. The clash of titans was about to begin. Gaara's eyes widened as the titan fist of the blonde leaf shinobi came barreling towards him. His sand rose to meet the fist as the mixture wrapped tightly around Naruto's wrist and forearm. However, much to the surprise of the emotionless demon container, Naruto's arm continued to inch forward, pure strength fighting against the subconscious ability of a tailed beast. "You are going to need to do better than that, Subaku no Gaara," said Naruto as his left hand moved in continuous motion, making one-handed seals. This came as a shock to many, as one-handed seals were considered an accomplished feat for even seasoned shinobi. Up in the Hokage's box from his seat, Sarutobi, smirking, Naruto still found ways to impress him. That boy, thought the aged village leader. Orochimaru had another idea. As Kukikuku, this boy will make a fine container, and I will be able to harness his strength and power, thought the snake Sannin. Back down in the arena, Naruto completed his final seal as a yellowish energy gathered around the fist currently locked in the sand's grip as he called out. "Rain, Arashihu no Jutsu, lightning style, storm cannon." The concentrated beam of lightning energy blasted from Naruto's fist, enveloping Gaara at point-blank range. A giant explosion filled the arena as smoke flew up the walls and into the sky above. The remaining two Sand siblings rushed to the railing from the viewing gallery, worry for their brother increasing by the second. Tamari screamed into the shroud. Gaara, she shouted at the top of her lungs over the noise of the attack. Soon enough the smoke cleared as Naruto stood in the center of the arena, his white jacket moving the intense wind his attack had created. Some distance away, Gaara stood to his feet. His sand-like armor that covered his body was covered in holes and cracks. "That armor of yours is impressive, Subaku no Gaara, to still be standing after taking a full shot at point-blank range," said Naruto, once again his hair shrouding his eyes in shadow. "Uzumaki Naruto, I will prove my existence by bathing in your blood," growled the Tsunade Jinchuriki. Then come at me Sabaku no Gaara if you wish to prove your existence, said Naruto, his white trench coat moving in the breeze. Gaara folded his arms as the large of amounts of sand escaped from his now uncorked gourd. The mass of sand moved under the complete control of Gaara, who then ordered the thick arm of sand towards Naruto as it moved rapidly. Naruto backflipped, avoiding the sand barrage. The blonde continued to duck, dive and dodge the limitless amount of sand. Naruto then jumped aside, skidding across the dirt-covered ground. He looked left and right as two identical arms of sand rushed him from both sides. The Leaf Genin then skidded backwards, once again avoiding the hit as his hands rushed through a series of seals before he called out, Taiten, Makeka no Jutsu, Fire Style, Hellfire. Naruto took in a deep breath before rapidly expelling the contents of his lungs as a powerful, almost white blast of flame struck the sand barrage. The intense heat melted the sand to its most basic byproduct of intense heat. Glass. Naruto then thrust his palms forward, having cut his flame stream as white embers and shards of glass covered the arena, with some still falling from the sky. The blonde smirked before he called out once more, Gyuten, Amatsuka's no Jutsu, Wind Style, Heavenly Wind. Then a powerful blast of wind erupted from Naruto's hands, catching the shards of glass and ignited some still burning embers. Flaming sharpened projectiles streaked towards the Suna Genin, whose protective shield of sand moved to protect him. Satisfied the barrage had ended, Gaara lowered his protective sand wall and stared at the blonde who stood some distance away. The Suna Genin smiled maniacally. You are truly worthy me proving my existence, Uzumaki Naruto, said Gaara. Fighting is not the only way to prove one's existence, Gaara. You prove you're alive every day you spend on this earth, said Naruto, knowing exactly the kind of life that Gaara had lived through, because it was one he had lived through himself, for that was the life of a Jinchuriki. Gaara stared at Naruto in an emotionless manner. You know nothing of what I have lived through, the fear, the crushing loneliness, hated by everyone you meet, said Gaara. Naruto nodded his head. I know about all of those things, because it describes my own life perfectly. We are more alike than you think, Sabaku no Gaara, replied Naruto. Gaara stared at the blonde for a moment, shocked at the revelation, until he gripped his head in pain as the booming voice of his barley-contained tenant, the Ichibi no Shukaku, screamed, kill him now and feed me his blood, prove your existence, screamed the beast. Gaara stumbled, gripping his head tightly, trying to block out the voices screaming inside his mind. From the viewing gallery, Temari and Kankuro rushed to the railing once more, seeing that Gaara was in trouble. Gaara shouted Kankuro. Gaara then screamed into the sky with all his might before he grinned like a madman at Naruto and unleashed a massive wave of sand towards the blonde. Naruto jumped back, avoiding the crushing wave of sand. Gaara swept his hands in fluid motions, controlling the sand and its direction. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt the telltale grip of the sand around his right ankle. Rapidly the sand overtook his entire body as Gaara clawed his fingers. Now die, Uzumaki, screamed the Suna Genin, closing his fingers into a fist and calling out, Sabaku Kaiu, Desert Coffin. Naruto struggled against the sand's vice-like grip, which he could feel constricting and crushing his body. He tried to move his fingers, but the sand was just too strong. Gaara, smiling like a madman, then turned his closed fist and called out yet another technique of destruction. Sabaku Saosu, Desert Funeral. The sand surrounding Naruto then dragged him under and then imploded as blood seeped into the sand. The crowd was shocked into silence at the display, from the Genins to the civilians. Both Jiraiya and Sarutobi from the spot in the Hokage's private box narrowed their eyes as the arena Naruto was harder to put down than that. They could still sense the blonde's faint chakra signature and wondered just what he was up to. Orochimaru, still in his Kazekage disguise, smiled behind his shroud. Kukuku, it looks like you were nothing but a one of Naruto-kun, thought the Snake Sannin. Naruto-kun, whispered Hinata, tears springing from her eyes at the supposed loss of the blonde Genin. Tiba and Chaoji were also shocking into silence, stuttering at what had just happened. Ino sat wide-eyed and silent, much like the others. Silence still reigned over the arena as Gaara returned his sand to his protective gourd and turned, walking away. Suddenly clapping from heard, breaking the quietness of the arena. This wasn't clapping from the crowd, as the Suna Genin turned to see a smirking blonde leaning against the arena wall, smirking at him. Is that all you've got, Sabaku no Gaara? Demanded Naruto, glaring hard at the redhead. The crowd murmured and spoke in hushed whispers at the sudden arrival of the blonde. How had he survived, thought many. Meanwhile the Leaf Genins all cheered at Naruto's sudden reappearance. Naruto-kun, said Hinata happily. Way to go, Naruto, shouted Kiba. Taoji was so happy he was munching rapidly on a bag of potato chips. How are you still alive, asked Gaara. We are shinobi, deception is our art. Now tell me, is that all you've got? I expected so much more from the Jinchuriki of the Ichibi no Shukaku, said Naruto. How did you know? Demanded Gaara. We can sense others, said Naruto simply. Gaara's eyes grew wide at the revelation. So you know what it means to be a Jinchuriki, asked the redhead. I do, and know this loneliness is not the answer. It only begets more loneliness. You need to find a reason to live, Gaara. You need to find something to protect, said Naruto. Something to protect, thought Gaara. From inside its defective seal Shukaku, sensing his jailer's conflict had now had enough, he wanted that blonde blood feed to him, the one-tailed beast, then flooded the boy's chakra system with his demonic chakra. Gaara, feed me this brat's blood, I command you to kill him. Now. Screamed the demon from inside the seal. Back in the real world, Gaara gripped his head in pain at the screams that enveloped his mind coming from the seal. Once again he smiled like a madman and unleashed his sand once again. Now you die for real, Uzumaki, no more tricks, you will prove my existence, screamed the redhead. Naruto took a stance as he watched the sand rush towards him. Naruto flashed through a series of seals and slammed his hands into the ground as he screamed out. Oden, Ryu no Hikari, Earth Style, Dragon Scales. Multiple solid plates of rock and dirt rose out of the ground and surrounded Naruto. The individual plates of the earth spun rapidly around the blonde, blocking the sand attacks. From inside his protective dome, Naruto took a horse stance as each hand flashed through a series of one-handed seals. Naruto completed his sequence before he brought his hands together, his fingers clawed tips touching as a glowing orb of energy surrounded his hands. That sneaky little brat, whispered Jiraiya, seeing what the blonde had planned. Back down on the arena floor, Naruto smirked as he called out his newest technique. Ranton, Tadahauka no Jutsu, Storm Style, Heavy Gunfire. From the orb of energy surrounding Naruto's hands, hundreds of yellow energy beams rushed towards Gaara. The redhead sand shield once again rose to protect him. However, it was futile as the beams were relentless as they struck Gaara multiple times. The attacks continued until the Sunagenin was backed up against the arena wall. Naruto, still protected by the earth and dragon scales, poured more chakra into his attack as the energy beams increased in size and frequency. Smoke shrouded the arena as the arena wall started to crumble away. Leaf Ninja moved the crowd back to stop the wall was collapsed after what seemed like hours of relentless attack. Naruto dropped his technique as the scales crumbled to dust and returned to the earth. The attack was something Naruto had discovered completely by accident while training with Jiraiya. Thanks to his bloodline and his control, he discovered he could mix compatible elements together to create brand new ninjutsu. As the smoke cleared, Naruto narrowed his eyes at what he saw. Gaara had surrounded himself in ball of sand, a cocoon almost. From the viewing gallery, Kankuro and Temari nodded to each other. It was time to put the plan into action. Naruto jumped backwards as a claw arm of sand thrust towards him. A single demonic eye appeared visible through a small hole in the sand sphere. From the Hokage's private box, Orochimaru made a secret hand seal. From inside the crowd, a masked shinobi placed his hands in a seal as hundreds of feathers descend over the crowd. The shinobi cast a sleep genjutsu to incapacitate the crowd. Many Chunin and Jounin dispelled the simple genjutsu, negating its effects. Even some of the more astute genin negated the simple genjutsu. From the Hokage's box, one of Orochimaru's guards threw a smoke bomb to the ground, covering the area. Naruto looked up, seeing the smoke bomb's explosion. Jiji, Jiraiya-sensei, he whispered. Suddenly Naruto found himself surrounded by dozens of masked Suna and Odo ninjas. Naruto smirked. So Suna and Odo are working together, thought the blonde. Jiraiya then stood at the railing and shouted down to his student, Naruto, we are under attack, you deal with that Jinchuriki and we'll handle the arena, said the Gama-sanin. Got it, how exactly are you going to handle us, kid? Asked one of the Odo Jounin. Naruto smirked before he clawed his right hand as a perfect spinning sphere of chakra appeared. The Rasengan, with his left, he pulled a special Tri-kunai and threw it into the air, calling out. Kunai Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Dozens of the special kunai fell from the sky and littered the ground around the attacking ninja. Naruto smirked before he disappeared in a red flash. Almost like a pinball in a machine, Naruto raced across the arena floor, darting in every direction. In mere seconds, Naruto had felled each of the attacking shinobi before they even had a chance to defend themselves. Each one had a perfect circular wound in various places on their body. Naruto reappeared. That's how I handle you, Baka, said the blonde as he turned to see that Gaara had escaped the arena by climbing the wall, with the redhead now a miniature version of his tenant. Genma appeared standing next to Naruto. You better get going, kid, we've got his covered, said the Takubetsu Jounin. Right, thanks Genma-sen, replied Naruto as he flashed out in hot pursuit of the renegade Jinchuriki. Meanwhile, on the tallest roof high above the arena, Sarutobi and Jiraiya stood some distance from the Kazekage, having chased the village leader up here after the smoke bomb had cleared. What is the meaning of this Kazekage dono, demanded Sarutobi. The Kazekage laughed with his face still covered. I'm surprised you haven't recognized me yet, sensei. I'm hurt, said the fake village leader. Sensei. Jiraiya then stepped forward. So you've returned to do harm to the leaf once more, have you, Orochimaru, said Jiraiya, frowning at his former teammate. Kukikuku Jiraiya Baka, how did you know, said Orochimaru, removing the white cloth that covered his face, revealing a shen gray skin and yellow snake-like eyes. You can thank my newest student for that, said Jiraiya proudly. Sarutobi then stepped forward. Orochimaru, as leader of Konoha, I will stop you before harm this village again. You can try, sensei, along with that perverted ex-teammate of mine, but you will fail, and the leaf will burn before this day is done, replied the Snake-san, and bring up the shield, he ordered, as 4 shadows sprung from their Suna-guard disguises and placed themselves at each corner of the roof. Shishi engine. The large violet chakra barrier then covered the entire roof and stretched into the sky. Now no one could get in or get out. I would hate for us to be disturbed, said Orochimaru with a shrug. The 3 cage level of shinobi then stood squaring off, 2 protectors and 1 attacker, each stood ready preparing for battle inside the barrier. From the crowd, Kakashi observed the violet barrier extend into the sky. He then saw dozens of Odo and Suna shinobi then appear in the arena. Kakashi, what's the plan here, asked Guy, going back to back with his Jounin comrade. We clear the arena and evacuate the civilians. Let's get to it, said Kakashi as he pulled a kunai from his holster. Yosh, time to display the power of youth, shouted Guy. Eugenin, said Kakashi, getting their attention as they had sensed the Jinjutsu and dispelled it. Help with the evacuation and try not to get yourself killed, finished the one-eyed Jounin. Aye, Kakashi-sensei, they chorused together. The one-eyed Jounin then cast his vision beyond the arena wall, having seen Naruto's swift departure in hot pursuit of the Suna Genin Gaara. Be careful, Naruto, he thought as he puffed away in a cloud of smoke and went about attacking the invaders. In the forest beyond Konoha, a sand-covered tanuki-like creature was blasting from tree branch to tree branch. It stopped and sniffed the air only for a heavy fist to impact its face and send it rocketing to the ground below. Naruto skidded to a stop, once again standing some distance from Gaara, his cold blue eyes focused on his target. Gaara in his partially possessed form shook off the hit and stood tall. Demonic eyes glared at the blonde, who stood impassively. Uzumaki, have you come to die, growled Gaara. No, Gaara, I've come to stop you before you do any damage to Konoha, replied Naruto. Gaara in his demonic form smirked, sharpened teeth, showing your pathetic village is no interest of mine, Uzumaki. I have come to prove my existence, and I shall when I drink you blood from your crushed and broken body, snarled the beast. Naruto took a stance. Just try it, Sabaku no Gaara, prove you are worthy to live before I put you down and show you the error of your ways. Gaara screamed before he launched a sand-covered arm towards the blood, who flashed out, avoiding the hit. Naruto then moved rapidly through the tree-covered area, avoiding yet more arm strikes. The Leaf Genin then skidded back across the dirt as he caught another strike from the sand-covered arm. Naruto grit his teeth against the strength that was pushing him back. You're mine, Uzumaki, screamed Gaara. The sand-covered hand then closed around Naruto and forced him back against a tree. The blonde gasped at the pressure around his body, however it soon turned into a smirk as his body collapsed into a pool of water. Izubunshin. Naruto stood once again some distance from Gaara, his hands locked into a seal before he called out his attack. Suiton, Sashouhen no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Collision Destruction. The tower of water formed from the surrounding moisture, turning into a large tower of water that surrounded Naruto and then rushed towards Gaara. The Suna Genin tried to escape the torrent but was hopelessly caught in its force. Naruto cancelled his technique as the watery attack subsided and absorbed itself into the ground. As the blonde stepped towards the fallen form of Sabaku no Gaara, said Suna Genin, whose sand-covered body was falling away having absorbed too much water. Damn you, Uzumaki, I'll kill you, growled the demon-possessed Gaara. Wake up, Gaara, wake up and look around you, snarled Naruto. You scream of recognition. You strive to be acknowledged for who you are. I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to be forgotten simply for containing a tailed monster, said Naruto. The remainder of Gaara's sand slipped from his body, revealing his normal human appearance. The redhead looked angrily at the boy stood in front of him. What would you know about anything I've been through, he screamed. Because we are the same. You were me before I discovered that I was never alone. I had friends and loved ones willing to recognize me for who I was, said Naruto as he extended his hand. Take my hand, Gaara, and stand up and be recognized by a humble ninja of the Leaf Village, said Naruto, smiling. Gaara took Naruto's hand as the blonde hauled him to his feet. An evil smirk then appeared on the redhead's face as an arm of sand appeared suddenly and attacked Naruto. The blonde disappeared in a puff of smoke while the real him appeared some distance away. Gaara screamed into the sky as his sand once again formed in a tanuki-like creature once more. The sand-covered arms then moved in a whip-like fashion as Gaara called out. Suna Shuriken. Dozens of sand constructs rushed towards Naruto, who deftly avoiding the flying projectiles. Gaara, once again enraged at the blonde's defiance, opened his mouth and screamed into the forest. Gyuden. Mugen Sajin, Datapa, Wind Style, Infinite Sand Cloud. Great breakthrough. Gaara opened his mouth and unleashed a powerful chakra-infused sand blast. Naruto flashed through a series of seals, calling out his own attack in response. Kaiten, Juryuhen no Jutsu, Fire Style, Imperial Dragon Flame. Naruto spewed out a large jet of white-hot flames, and further increased by the power of Gaara's demonic wind. The flames charged towards the possessed Suna Genin. The explosion cast black smoke high into the air with many of trees in the forest, no set ablaze of charred from the smoke. Naruto stepped forward, his feet crunched the charcoaled ground underfoot. He stepped towards to a charred but alive Gaara. The Sunagenin was out cold, the repeated attacks with both fire and water, and pushed his body to the limit. But the murmured Naruto before he jumped back as a huge amount of sand converged around the unconscious genin. The tower of sand stretched into the sky before taking on the form of a giant tanuki. "Ahaha, I'm free, ha ha ha," screamed the Ichibi no Shukaku, now fully released with Gaara's unconscious state, as it flattened trees underfoot and stomped around the empty forest. "Oh shit," cursed Naruto as she bit his thumb and ran the blood-covered digit down the palm of his left hand before slamming it into the ground, calling out, "Uchius no Jutsu, summoning technique." The giant cloud of white smoke covered the forest as began to clear. A beastly roar could be heard. As the smoke completely disappeared, it revealed a giant green and yellow serpentine dragon. The mighty dragon unleashed a huge roar as Naruto landed on its head, its clawed legs dug into the ground as it stretched its body into the sky. "Naruto-kun, for what reason have you summoned me?" asked the dragon. "Ryuka Dono, my village is under attack and we now have a tailed beast rampaging around. I need your help to stop it," explained the blonde. "Tailed beast, you say? You certainly have some interesting battles, Naruto-kun, but as High King of Dragons I cannot allow this injustice to continue. I will help," said the mighty dragon. Kyuubi then spoke from inside Naruto's mind. "Naruto, you need to wake that kid up. As long as he remains asleep, the longer Shukaku remains in control," said Kyuubi. "Understood, Kyuubi," replied the blonde. Shukaku then turned, having seen the dragon appear, and noticing the blonde perched atop its head, he smirked, knowing he would still get to bathe in the blood of his enemy. "Ooh, dragon, I'll enjoy stripping the flesh from your bones," screamed Shukaku. Ryuka did not take kindly to this insult. "Try it, demon filth, I will end you and roast your dead carcass over my imperial flames," snarled the mighty Dragon King. From inside Naruto's mind, Kyuubi did not take too kindly to such an insult. "Hey, who you calling demon filth?" said the Nine Tails. Shukaku, having enough of the conversation, inhaled deeply before he blasted out numerous chakra-infused air bullets. Ryuka maneuvered his body around the bullets as they passed harmlessly by. The Dragon King then spun as its scaly tail smashed into the sand demon's chest, knocking him into the ground. Ryuka then opened his giant maw, a ball of fiery energy gathering in the empty space, before the summoned beast called out, "Raipu, Keonrashi no Jutsu, Dragon Art, Heat Storm." The Dragon King unleashed giant blast of fire from its mouth which washed over the entire area. Shukaku stood to its feet, its sand-covered hands trying to hold back the torrent of flames, but the heat was simply too much as its hands started to turn to glass. Once the flames have died down, you need to get in there and wake the kid up. Once he's awake, Shukaku should retreat back into its seal, explained Kyuubi. "Right," replied Naruto through the mental link. Ryuka Dono grabbed at him now, ordered Naruto atop the dragon's head. "Right," said Ryuka as he cancelled the fiery attack as its clawed hands gripped the arms of the charred demon who was howling in agony. "Naruto-kun, do it now," shouted Ryuka. Naruto jumped into the air and sailed towards the unharmed and asleep Sabaku no Gaara atop Shukaku's head. "Gaara," screamed the blonde as he reared back his fist and thrust it forward and impacted the left cheek of the Sunagenin. "Wake the hell up," screamed Naruto. He followed through his attack and awoken Gaara as Shukaku started to scream once more. "What the hell, I just got here," shouted the sand demon before his body completely disappeared. Gaara, his energy entirely depleted, fell towards the ground, his limp body crashing in a heap. Naruto landed on Ryuka's opened clawed hand before he jumped and fell towards the ground, landing a small distance from Gaara. "How is he so strong? What's his secret?" thought Gaara as he turned, looking at the blonde. "Sabaku no Gaara, I'm sorry that it had to come to this. I'm sorry that I have treated a fellow Jinchuriki this way. But I needed to show you the proof that living to protect others can give you strength beyond your wildest dreams. Gaara, you have people in your life that love you, and you must strive to protect them and live for something." "Protect them," murmured Gaara. "That's right, take from someone who knows, and I would like to offer you this advice as your friend," said Naruto, smiling. "Friend?" Naruto nodded before he jumped back, sensing new arrivals. A rickety puppet tried to attack Naruto, but the blonde had moved too quickly. Gaara's siblings Kankuro and Temari appeared in front of their brother, protecting him from further attack as the pair glared hard at the leaf ninja weapons at the ready. "Enough," whispered Gaara. "But Gaara," asked Kankuro. "This is over, we are to return to the village," said the redhead as Kankuro pulled his brother's arm across his own shoulders, hauling him to his feet. "But Gaara," questioned Temari. "You are an interesting one, Uzumaki Naruto, until we meet again," said Gaara as he disappeared with Kankuro, leaving only Temari behind. "Thank you for what you did for Gaara," said Temari, closing her large battle fan. Naruto smiled. "We do what we must to protect those we care about. Take care of him, won't you?" said the blonde. Temari blushed slightly at Naruto's smile before she nodded and disappeared as well. The evidence of battle was all around as many of the trees were charred and broken. Naruto looked to the sky to see Ryuka still hovering above him. "That was a noble thing you did for that boy, Naruto-kun," said the Dragon King. "I guess," said Naruto with a shrug before he jumped into the air and landed once again on Dragon King's head. To the village. To the village Ryuka Dono, there's still work to be done. Ryuka swiftly moved through the air back towards the village. Naruto from his spot atop of the Dragon King saw a multiple-headed snake creature burst through the perimeter wall. The ninjas of Konoha fought hard to push back the beast. Naruto made a cross symbol with his fingers and called out, Age Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. 2 exact clones of Naruto appeared on the dragon's head. At a brisk pace they soon reached the village. Looks like they need some help, Naruto-kun, said Ryuka. Sure do, said Naruto as he nodded to his clones who completed the needed hand seals and slammed her hands down, both calling out, Fuchius no Jutsu, summoning technique. 2 giant puffs of smoke appeared in the tiger, and a bellowing roar could be heard as a giant gleaming white tiger jumped to the ground and immediately attacked the multi-headed snake. Another high-pitched scream could be heard from inside the smoke cloud before a large red and orange phoenix appeared, embers trailing with every flap of its wings. The mighty phoenix opened its mouth and unleashed a torrent of flames that incinerated a battalion of Suna and Odo ninjas that lined the wall. The tiger had dealt with a multi-headed snake as it disappeared in a puff of smoke. Snake meat my favorite, grumbled Haiku, the white tiger boss. You shouldn't eat that stuff, Haiku, said Shenro, the phoenix boss. Naruto landed on the perimeter wall and was met by Marino Ibiki, who had been commanding the defense of the wall, along with numerous other Leaf Chunin and Jounin. Ibiki-sen, I'm sorry I'm late, said Naruto looking at the scarred Jounin. Pretty impressive job, kid, thanks for the assist. No problem, now my summons will be able to deal with another new summoned snakes that appear along with the defense of the village, but I need to find Hokage-sama and Jiraiya-sensei. Where are they? Asked the blonde. Ibiki directed Naruto's attention to the large violet-colored object that stood above the arena roof. Both Hokage-sama and Jiraiya-sama were last seen engaging at the stadium. You want to help, kid, you best get over there, said Ibiki. Ryuka Dono, can you give me a lift, asked Naruto to the Dragon King. Sure, Naruto-kun, hop on. Shenro Dono, Haiku Dono. Please assist with the defense of the village and destroy any new snakes that appear, Naruto shouted to his other summons. We've got this covered, Naruto-kun, don't you worry, replied Shenro. Nom. No problem, Naruto-kun, replied Haiku. Naruto smiled as Ryuka moved swiftly towards the violet-colored structure. Naruto's blue eyes observed the chakra constructed covered almost the entire roof. With no clear way and Naruto had to think of another plan, the blonde could barely make out the shadows inside the construct. Looks like there is no way inside, Naruto-kun, said Ryuka. Looks like, but I'm starting to get used to doing the impossible. Naruto stood up, his white coat moving in the wind as dragons circled the arena. Naruto jumped towards the barrier and reared back his fist as chakra gathered around the closed appendage before he called out, Dasoku. Kaioken Shindu no Jutsu, high gear, giant impact. Naruto threw his fist forward as a long beam of energy exploded from the blonde's fist and struck the barrier, shaking its very foundation from the force. Moments before Naruto's attack inside the barrier, Orochimaru smirked as he approached the fallen forms of Jiraiya and Sarutobi. Jiraiya grit his teeth as he raised his head and glared at his former teammate. You will not win, Orochimaru, even if you kill us, said the Gama-sanin. Orochimaru laughed as he was joined by the ghostly figures of 2 others through the use of an S-rank kinjutsu known as Ito Tensei. He had revived the Shadame and Nidame Hokages at their original power and their personality suppressed by paper tags implanted in their heads. Fukikuku Jiraiya, so misguided the leaf will burn once I've dealt with you and Sarutobi, said the Snake Sanin, sneering at Jiraiya. Suddenly the entire roof shook with tremendous force as the violet barrier shattered into a million pieces. Orochimaru's guards, who were stationed at each corner of the barrier, were sent flying off in different directions. What the, shouted Orochimaru seeing his barrier shattered. Naruto, having successfully broken the barrier, narrowed his at the Snake Sanin. The blonde placed his hands in a seal. Before clawing his fingers, a ball of yellow energy gathered between them. He called out, Ranton, Tadahauken no Jutsu, storm style, heavy gunfire. Multiple beams of yellow energy exploded out of the energy ball and converged on Orochimaru, and revived the Hokages, who jumped back to avoid the attack. Naruto landed in front of Jiraiya, and Sarutobi, his cold blue eyes, glared at his new opponent. That's enough, Orochimaru, your invasion has failed and you will die before the sun sets, so why don't you make this easy on yourself and surrender, said Naruto. Fukikuku Naruto-kun, don't make me laugh, chuckled the Snake Sanin. I'll make you swallow that laugh into my new team, snarled the blonde. I don't think you know exactly what you stepped into, Naruto-kun, said Orochimaru, directing the blonde's attention to the revived Hokages. Naruto's eyes widened as his blue eyes caught sight of the Shadame and Nidame. You monster, how could you do this? Snarled Naruto. Fukikuku, now it's time for you to die, Naruto-kun. The emotionless shells of the former Hokages then rushed towards the blonde, who took a stance. He was prepared for what happened next. Jiraiya, seeing his student and what was about to happen, shouted Naruto. He screamed. Naruto stood ready, his eyes narrowed, his lips drawn in a thin line. He was about to have the fight of his life, and it would take everything he had to come out on top. What if Naruto has the Phoenix summoning contract Chunin exam? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.